Boom, 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 boom. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, and the sweet, sweet sound of amplified voices and my man, Shooter Jennings.
Hey, man.
You look like you're supposed to wear sunglasses. Some dudes wear sunglasses. You're like, bitch, get those sunglasses off. But you look like you're supposed to be wearing sunglasses.
There was a point in time when I moved here. I remember, well, for a while they were prescriptions, so I had an excuse for a long time, but I went back to contacts. But there was a point in time when I remember turning to my friend, I was like 21, and I was like, I think I'm just going to keep them on all the time, and then it'll just be a thing. And that way I can just, if I have to close my eyes, nobody will notice, or if I'm stoned, nobody will notice.
When people get super famous, like Jay-Z famous, they wear them inside everywhere, just so people don't catch a glimpse of their eyes and hand them a demo tape.
See, if you start out like a scrub wearing them, then it's weird if you take them off, you know?
Well, it's a different thing in the black community, too. Like a real cool black artist is just allowed. They're just allowed. They can just do it.
Right. I mean, I'd be disappointed if, like, I saw Bob Dylan out somewhere and he wasn't wearing them. Like, Christopherson wears them all the time. He has the good fade, too. It's like black, brown, white, kind of.
Yeah, he fits right the fuck in. Conor McGregor, he can wear them indoors.
Oh, yeah.
Some dudes can wear them indoors. If I wore them indoors, I'd be a douchebag. Plus the kind I wear like, fucking sport ones. I have a couple pairs of those that look cool, like a cool-ass aviator type
Yeah, these
ones.
are Porsches. My dad used to wear Porsches, and
nice.
At one point I ran across their purple ones, and I was like, I bought like 4 pairs, and I keep breaking them, and this is my last one.
Those are very dope. Those are Porsche design.
Yeah,
they make
Porsche.
some dope shit.
They do.
I just used to think that they only made cars, and then I found they make phones. Did you know they make a phone?
Oh yeah, I saw it. I've never. Didn't they make a BlackBerry for a minute? I think
I don't
Porsche
know, maybe.
made a BlackBerry, and I think they made another phone recently. I would love to get one of those, but
It's a weird little design shop they have.
it is.
They have a Huawei phone. I'm saying it wrong. Apparently, people correct me. Huawei.
What's that?
Huawei is a Chinese company that actually just got busted because their newest advertisement, it shows them taking selfies, but they aren't really taking selfies. They're using like a super high-end DSLR camera to take the photo, and they're passing it off as if these people are just holding it up, taking selfies. It's on a fucking tripod, the whole deal. I mean, did you get a photo of that? Look at that. Look. The guy's holding it up as if he's taking a selfie. But meanwhile, there's a fucking professional dude with a tripod. But he's making it look like he took that picture.
Who busted them?
I think the woman in the photo busted them. Because I think she took pictures or had someone take pictures of the photo shoot. Yeah.
She got a look on her face like that too. Like,
yeah, she's like,
really?
Bitch, come on.
Huawei.
But meanwhile, here's what's stupid about that. They don't have to do that. Those goddamn things take amazing selfies. It's a great phone.
Yeah.
Like the newest, latest smartphones, they take incredible selfies.
I know.
But people are never satisfied with the truth. That's why gorgeous women will put those fucking crazy cartoons, those selfie filters on.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful. And then they'll turn themselves into a cartoon. Like, you don't get it. Like, you're supposed to have pores.
Right.
We don't mind pores. I don't mind the wrinkles on your skin when you smile. I don't mind, the bubbles of saliva on your teeth, okay?
Man,
people are getting in this weird state of mind where they think there's they said there's an epidemic of girls, like Insta models, that are actually getting surgery to try to look like they look in their selfies.
Oh my God. Speaking of Insta models, I just listened to David Spade's audiobook, which I thought was great. The I guess Polaroid guy in a Snapchat world or whatever. And there's a lot of chapters that deal with the Insta. I didn't even realize this was a thing. Like, I'm
dude.
I'm so out of the loop with
Do you go to Instagram? Do you pay attention to it, or you just post pictures occasionally?
Man, I'm not really good at paying attention to any of it. Twitter from day one, I kind of was in, and I'll go in and out, but it's hard for me to actually keep up and care about it. Like, I hate posting pictures of myself, and my manager Adam, who's here, he's always like, dude, if you're gonna post something on Instagram, just make sure you're in it or something, because I'm always like taking pictures of other people.
You can't listen to that dude. Don't listen to your manager. That's ridiculous.
I know.
You're not supposed to be in every picture you take. That's crazy.
I know, but I'm bad at it, and I'm very bad at caring about other people's pictures too. And it's like my wife will be like, I just posted on Instagram, so I got to go like it.
Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, you got to talk to her
know.
about that.
Nah, her pictures are good, so
I'm sure they're
I'm
great,
good
but,
with it,
God damn, do I have to double tap each and every one of them? Can I just give you the nod? Looks good.
I know. Well,
like
see, it's easy to throw that off, but see, my daughter who's 10 now has an Instagram account, and if I'm not liking them, I feel horrible. I'm like, I've got to.
Different.
My wife's already liking them, and I'm like, God damn it.
I don't. I think that's a lot of pressure for a kid, man.
Hers are all pictures of these LOL dolls that she's obsessed with anyway, and slime
LOL.
and things.
Yeah, slime is a new one, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Who the fuck saw that coming? By the way, fidget spinners out.
Yeah,
I just
slime
found out.
in. Yeah. I mean, my son got so obsessed with fidget spinners, and my daughter, but really my son, to the point where like they were spending some time in New York, and I'd be going up there, and we walked down the street, and like every fucking vendor, every newsstand, every like pretzel place had like fidget spinners out.
Yeah.
And like I'd have to buy it, I'd be like, he'd be like, ooh, that one has a skull on it, and I'd be like, okay, and it's like $10, and then
To spin just
break.
Yeah, probably costs like
that
15
guy.
cents to manufacture in
It's like-
Taiwan.
he was like an 18-year-old kid who came up with that, and he wanted to be an entrepreneur, and he made that.
Really?
And now he's like a billionaire.
How did he figure that out? Like, I want to talk to that dude and go, hey
Right.
man,
You should have him on the
don't-
show.
Yeah, don't give out the secret, but what the fuck is next? 'Cause I didn't see slime coming either. My daughters have fucking gallons of glue and
Dude,
detergent.
Elmer's,
Yeah.
Just yesterday,
Gallons.
my daughter and son were making slime with it, and I was saying the same thing. I'm like, man, I mean, we had like ectoplasm slime and Nickelodeon slime when I was a kid, and like but it was not like this. All of a sudden,
No.
it's like I can't believe it. And then you watch the commercials for glue. They have glow in the dark glue, and they're like showing a kid making slime with the
Yeah,
glue.
they'll
Like
let you
Elmer's,
know.
Talk about an unexpected boost for Elmer's.
Yeah, they must have jumped. They
Yeah,
must have jumped
and
big.
Tide.
They came up.
Tide
Elmer's
Pod, between Tide Pods and the slime, Tide's like
was
fucking
the
sitting
Tide
pretty.
Pod real? Were people really eating detergent? Was that real?
I guess.
That seems like it would be unbelievably bad for your body to eat a detergent
I mean,
pod.
we used to huff like Scotch Guard when we were kids, or potpourri.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's.
I
The
used to
same
smell
kind of
markers.
Yeah.
I used to love the smell of like a good Sharpie, like a fat one.
Did anyone ever do the thing in school for you where they grab you and they pull you up and then you almost pass out and then they let you go? We used to do that in elementary school.
Oh
where they-
yeah, what was that? How'd that
like-
work?
I think I would get
They'd
behind
squeeze you,
and pick you
right?
up and then
Shake
hold
you or some shit?
Yeah, until you can't basically breathe. You're almost suffocating, and then let you
Hmm.
go, and then you're like high. Hi.
Yeah.
I don't know. The
Kids are always trying to. Well, even monkeys, man. I mean, animals try to change their state. You know, they think it's just a natural thing. The creatures try to change their state, change their state of consciousness. Even little kids. But I wonder about that slime stuff because I genuinely worry. Like people, I don't think have been dealing with large volumes of glue and detergent like that with
borax
physical.
too. That's another one.
Oh yeah, borax. Is
Yeah,
in it.
that's fucking toxic. You know.
It gets in your skin is an organ. People don't realize that. You don't think about that when you're spraying on all the
pores.
different shit that people put on their bodies. Like I think about that when I use sunscreen. I'm like, what is this stuff? Like
Right? You're blocking your
Yeah.
pores with some goo.
some good, but it's also your skin's absorbing it. Like when you go in that isolation tank, that's one of the best ways to absorb magnesium because of the Epsom salts. Like when you float around in the tank, the Epsom salts, your body absorbs magnesium from
You
it.
talking about like altered states?
Yeah. Have you done that before?
No,
You've
I
never
still haven't
it?
done DMT. We had that
Oh,
conversation.
Yeah, that's
but-
right.
Yeah,
Dude, we
no-
haven't had a conversation. How the fuck have we only done one other podcast together? That's ridiculous.
Hey man,
We live in the same town.
I know. We had a great dinner with Sturgill.
That was fun,
time.
man.
My mom.
Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, I got the
Yeah.
great Mrs. Rogan out.
Yeah, that's right.
It was
man.
fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, Dantana's.
Dude, that
Throw
place
up.
is the shit. That place is like
is.
you go back in time.
That is the spot where I feel like I've made it in this town if they know me by name there, and I can always get a spot at the bar. I'm close. They know me by name, but I don't always have a spot at the bar.
You can't. I don't think anybody always gets a spot at the bar.
James
there.
Woods does if he
Yeah.
wants.
Oh, does he?
I bet.
Yeah. He's got a
always
giant
there.
dick, I hear.
Sweet, I bet.
That's what I
It
hear.
seems like it. I finally met him there. I had the balls to walk up to him one of the recent times, and I was like, "Hey, man,
Yeah, you just got to walk up with a Hillary Clinton joke.
right, low video drone."
He's
funny
a
as fuck, though,
staunch
dude.
Republican now.
Yeah, but he's funny. I mean, regardless of what side you're on, he is just always on fire with that, and he likes
Yeah.
doing it just to aggravate people.
Yeah, well, it seems like he's done with the whole acting thing, right?
Yeah, he
It
said he
seems like
invested
he's
in
kinda-
Apple in the 80s, and he's fine with being blacklisted.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said. He made a tweet or something like that. Where
Oh, the investment in Apple.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. How weird is that? You could just say, I think this company's going to kick some ass. Let me buy a piece.
Yeah.
You could get a piece of a company.
And then they become the Apple.
Yeah. Apple apparently has more than $1 trillion now.
I know. Isn't that insane? That's kind of dangerous. Anybody to have that kind of influence, though, with these phones and shit, it's like that's pretty dangerous.
Yeah. I kind of trust them with data, though. I feel like...
Even with their China deal?
Yeah. Well, Google has a weird China deal, too.
Well, they also have secret servers in North Korea and shit, too. They have all
Google
that
does?
stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, they just have servers set up in all these other countries.
They
All
got them
of that
set
is
up in North
dangerous. I
Korea?
don't trust any of them.
What are they doing in North Korea?
I don't know.
It's all dick pics.
Yeah, I mean,
Servers full of dick
I
pics.
think there's all kinds of networks that have been going on for years that are involved in shit. I think, I tell my friends or my drummer specifically I talked to, but I was like, man, I think, I'm not a rich guy, but like I think that there's a point of money that I would like to know the threshold in which you get past that, and then like the Saudis, and then all these people start coming and wanting a part of you, and then you start selling your soul, like whatever that is. If it's $5 million, I just gotta stay right there. That would be. I don't want to get richer than that. And once you have influence, I think it becomes a scary world. So I like.
I think there's a lot of concern. Like people wonder whether or not someone's been like I've been accused of being approached. Like that I'm a CIA asset, or that here's a big one.
I think
here's
that
a big
stuff
one.
really
the
does
flat
happen.
Earth.
Oh,
The flat Earth people, they think that I've been approached to talk about the Earth being round, to be a round Earth shill. Jamie started selling T-shirts.
the round Earth shill.
Jamie's got round Earth shill T-shirts that he sells at youngjamie.com.
Man, I mean, round Earth shill is like saying that the reptilian people went to you to be a human shill.
Oh, someone told me that. Someone told me that they believe that there's reptilians underneath the Earth, and that they have carved
Underneath
tunnels.
the Earth?
They've carved tunnels through the ground with laser beams, and they have like a network of tunnels they use. They travel amongst us, waiting for their time to expose themselves. People believe, like, you see someone, like, say if you live in an apartment building and you drive by a dude's house, he's got a fat house. You go, wow, that guy's got a fat house. I wonder who he knows. I wonder if he's in with the mob, or maybe he's deep with the Democrats, or maybe he's the bankers, or who does he know?
Right.
Because you always think of like someone like being like at a level where you're like they sit you in a room and they give you some communications that you're not supposed to expose to the rest of the world.
Right. Well, I mean, there is, again, what I was saying about the threshold of money. There is a point, and it's there, I mean, Google started with a couple dudes.
Right.
Who were like, we got this idea. Before that, there was a thing called web crawler. That was kind of the first experience of a search engine that I'd ever experienced.
Well, there was Netscape Navigator. Wasn't one of those?
Netscape
Navigator was
one of the first browsers.
Was a browser.
Yeah, there was Mosaic and Netscape Navigator.
But there was a way to search.
That was web crawler.
Yahoo, Lycos.
Well, Yahoo
Lycos.
came later.
Yeah.
Lycos, Yahoo
Alta
came
Vista.
later. But Yahoo, there was web crawler, then Yahoo and Lycos, and then Google. Like,
Remember Ask
Google
Jeeves?
took over. Yeah.
I couldn't believe Ask Jeeves is a real thing.
Ask.com is still there.
I think that's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. But like, you got to look. Couple dudes in an office. Hey, we got a web search, and then
Right.
all of a sudden they've got Amazon has CIA contracts. That's known because they use their servers to do things. You got to look.
Well,
at some
Amazon
point
has
and
like super secure servers, but they've still been hacked.
they're as secure as anyone else's are.
Yeah.
They just have, once you make that, I think maybe it's 500 million. There's got to be a mark.
Yeah, there's a number.
In which people start approaching you and saying, hey, man, you've got too much influence. Would you like to join our group and we'll support you and you'll make $1 billion.
Ooh, yeah.
We'll double
Take
your
it to the next
shit.
level. Yeah.
Then-
I was in Italy. I just got back. And we took a boat from the Amalfi Coast. We took a boat from Amalfi to Capri, which is an island.
Wow,
outside.
yeah.
It's gorgeous, man. But when you're there, you see the crazy yachts. Like Steve Jobs has a yacht
Wow.
that he had built before he died. And now his family owns it,
It's
I
like
guess.
Leo DiCaprio and Bella Hadid and
his
people like that.
his yacht looks like an Apple store. It's the craziest thing. I mean, we drove right by it. Yachts are weird too because they're worth like $100 million, but you could basically like drive up and smack it. Like no one can stop. It's weird. I mean, that's how pirates work, right? They can just hop on top. They throw a grappling hook up, and then climb on top of your yacht. But when we're driving by, he's got
smack it.
He's got a. There it is. That's it.
Wow,
dude,
look at
it's
that.
a floating Apple store.
I don't want that. I don't want to have to deal with that and the maintenance and everything. I'm fine. I'd rather just first class it, and go on a trip and maybe rent that yacht for like. If I had the money to do it.
Even renting that yacht would be like $500,000 a week.
Oh, fuck that. I'll just get a boat and go up to it and ride
Yeah, see, the
it.
difference between the experience in a boat that big and an experience in a boat that's like a fraction of that size is not that different. Like, that's pretty fucking awesome. But ultimately, it's like a house. Like that's there. You get a good impression of what it's like. It doesn't really do it justice in an image because it's so modern. Right, like when you get near it, it's so strange looking.
Yeah, I mean, again, it'd be awesome to party on that for like a week.
Look at that guy's boat.
The rest of it would suck.
Look at that boat that just pulled right up. Hey, man. Yo, Steve, my fucking iPad's broke. Dude, my fucking iPad just broke.
I mean, I don't know, man. He
Wake
built
up,
it.
Steve.
Did he ever ride it?
No, he shit the bed before he wrote it.
Oh.
You know what's really fascinating? I read something about he died of pancreatic cancer. And one of the things he did was he drank fruit juice every day. And we used to think that fruit juice is really good for you, right? You're drinking fruit. Now they say, no. Fruit is really good for you. But drinking fruit juice is kind of an unnatural state. There's no fiber in that. So you're just drinking straight sugar. And now they say that drinking like a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice has the same sugar as drinking a can of soda. So your body doesn't differentiate much.
I mean,
between
the chemicals in soda, though. I mean,
right. Chemicals are not good.
Right.
Some chemicals. But some of them, they're innocuous. Like you could drink, like I was reading something about like Diet Coke. Like someone was saying like Diet Coke will give you brain cancer. And
now they're saying it prevents cancer.
What?
There was an article I read recently that was saying that they thought that Diet Cola's actually helped. They flipped their script on that deal.
Did they have a little fast talk at the end of it? Sponsored by Diet Coke Company. This study is sponsored by Diet Coke. Those fucking, first of all, that fast talk shit should be illegal. I don't know why that's not illegal. Remember they used to do that at the end of those goddamn commercials? They hire somebody who talks like a carnival
do
barker.
the whole commercial like that. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, make it all ineffective. Here, what is that? Could Diet Coke help curb colon cancer's return? What? Why Diet Coke? Who fucking... See, new study shows that colon cancer... Here's the problem, man. Fucking studies, dude. Studies are a problem because you can get... Like, there was a study posted recently. It was a questionnaire that showed that people who eat higher carb diets live longer. But it's basically a questionnaire that over 20-something years of like what you eat. And then the people who died, like there was all sorts of problems with it. Like they didn't exercise as much. They were fatter than the people who ate more carbs. And also you're asking people to remember what they ate, which is like very, very ineffective. And then the same place put out a study really recently that showed the exact opposite effect. And so it's like, well, what the fuck? If I'm just a regular guy who barely has time to read the paper and I read a study every now and then, it's basically like what you catch. You know, you can catch some. Second analysis found that about half of the benefit appeared to be due to people switching from regular to diet sodas. Oh, so the colon cancer was really just you stopped drinking Coke. Coke was giving you colon cancer. So now Diet Coke's
maybe
like,
it's caffeine.
Diet Coke prevents colon cancer. But it's really, no, Coke gives you fucking colon cancer.
Right.
It's so hard to know. It's so hard to know, man. I try to keep up. I cannot. I try.
I know. That's the problem with the internet and everything. Back in the day when we just didn't know shit, it seems like things move smoother. You know.
But yeah, but you remember, like people thought all kinds of goofy shit. Like thought most of your diet should be bread. Remember that
Marilyn
food pyramid?
Manson took his rib out just so he could suck his own dick. No, but that was that was a rumor back in the day.
Did he?
No.
I met him. He might. He might actually do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one. How about here's the granddaddy of all rumors. Richard Gere and that gerbil.
And the
up his ass.
gerbil in his ass.
Everybody knew that.
How is that possible? I want to know
gerbil
how
up your
that.
ass?
Yeah, how is that
it's
possible? How?
My buddy Steve did his residency in Miami. He's an ophthalmologist, and he told me that they pulled all kinds of things out of dudes' butts. And you know those kind of thick, lighting those thick light bulbs that look like a tree, like a Christmas tree.
Right.
You know those ones?
Yeah.
Some dude shoved one of those up his asshole and it broke.
Did you watch the Who Is America yesterday?
Yeah,
No, I haven't
seen
watched
the
a
new
single
one.
episode of
Oh,
it yet.
I love that show.
one
By
this
the way,
week
I'll
was really great.
there was a lot of talk about it, and I think it was great what he did. I mean, all he did was set up people to show the ugly in people if they had it. But I did not see that episode. But
He's a genius, man.
Man, I went a real quick story. I was like, there's a band called Hellbound Glory that I've loved for years, and the lead singer Leroy Virgil. They live in Reno, and so he took me to Reno I'd been to Reno before, but he took me on the Hellbound Glory tour of Reno, which was him going to different bars and shit. And he took me to this guy's house, and it was a friend of his lived down the street, and it was like their garage was open and a bunch of people hanging out playing vinyls. And this dude and drinking, you know, and at some point this guy was like, "Hey, I got to show you something." And he reached into his ceiling light. He had like one of these, but not with the clouds on it. It was just a regular like light you pull out. And he had, up in there, he had an X-ray that he pulled out, and it was an X-ray of a woman's vagina with a Flying V guitar neck, the headstock in it. It was an X-ray of that.
So it got stuck?
I mean, I don't know how. I mean, with the fucking tuning pegs and everything, but it was a yeah. So you know, what can you believe
How
these
about
days?
coming out?
Yeah, I mean, how can it going in?
But a woman's vagina is a remarkably flexible thing.
Oh,
I mean, they make babies. Babies come out of their bodies.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a whole hormonal thing their body sets up for 9 months to let happen. I mean, just sticking a
Maybe she
guitar neck in
really
there.
loves music.
Oh man, maybe she really, really, really loves hair metal, and it just went there.
Maybe she's just a giant fan of Slayer. Just wants that guitar in her body. Woo! But my friend Steve said they pulled all kinds of things out of people's bodies, and he said he was in Miami, and he said that it was during the cocaine days. When I met Steve
During the cocaine days, like they ended.
Oh yeah, that's over,
Miami.
bro. That's
over.
like so 1980. But he was there during the 80s, 70s, and the 80s. That's
Wow.
when I met him. Okay, I was in high school when I met him. So I think I was 15 or 16.
Where'd you go to high school?
Newton South High in Newton, Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston.
How'd you meet him?
Taekwondo.
Oh.
He was doing his residency for ophthalmology, and I was a young high school kid who was competing, and so I was over there every day. So if you came there, you saw me.
Wow.
And he was doing his residency in Boston. He was he was finishing it up in Boston, but he had done some of his work before that in Miami. So this was. I graduated in 85, so he was probably in Miami like 80, 81, somewhere around there. And he just got back. He showed me all kinds of pictures, dude.
Wow.
This is back before the internet. I got to see people's brains hanging out. He showed me some photos of
I mean,
just
what
bullet
was he in there
holes.
with a Polaroid or something?
It's a good question. I don't know what he
That's
used. I don't remember.
Dubious there.
Well, the people were dead.
Oh, okay.
You know, the brains, they were dead. I didn't
Right.
get to see like the light bulb up the asshole. He didn't have. Hey man, stay still while you're screaming.
Yeah. hey,
But
distract him. Somebody
yeah.
just.
But he legitimately did have some photos of some atrocious things.
Oh,
But he said it
man.
was just to go from being a medical school student to doing your residency in Miami and just seeing just crazy amounts of violence. He said it was just insane. Like, have you seen Cocaine Cowboys?
I have not. I've
Oh
heard
my
about
God.
it.
Billy Corbin, who's been on the
Maybe I saw
podcast
part
before,
of it, but-
made two of the most amazing documentaries ever.
That's about the Blow era of cocaine. I mean, the movie
Yes.
Blow and all that. George, what's his name?
Dude.
George Hung or whatever.
Well,
John.
no, it was about Griselda Blanco, who is this badass bitch from Colombia. Was she from Colombia? Bogota, yes. She
Oh,
from
that was the
Colombia.
Miami shit,
Yes.
wasn't it? That's
Yes.
right. I think I saw part of that documentary, but I always wanted to watch it. And I just
Oh,
never...
it's so good. Just got two of them. So if you do it, you got to fucking get
What's
the
the other
double
one?
dose in. Cocaine Cowboys 2. Why fuck around with a
All right.
crazy, hard to remember sequel name? But Cocaine Cowboys 1 and 2. Oh my God. There was 1 year where everyone who graduated from the police academy either was murdered or went to jail. Every single graduate.
Wow.
Was either killed because they had a part of the cocaine business, or they went to jail for being corrupt.
Wow.
All of them.
Wow.
There's more. I don't know if this is true. Please Google this. There were, at least at the time, more banks per capita in Miami than anywhere else in the country, because it was all used to launder cocaine money.
Wow.
Yeah, no bullshit, man.
See, again, man, you get that level of money, and
Yeah.
as you start getting banks and stuff. I'm just saying.
Those two
throwing that out there.
documentaries, I can't say enough good things about them. They're so good.
Sounds exhausting. Not the documentaries, but the
Both.
actual business of doing it.
Well, that's why you need coke. You
Right.
need to do coke while
But
you're in
not
the
supposed to get high on your own supply, man.
Well, that's the only way to keep up with the young kids. I mean, if you
ask
get
Rick Ross,
which one, the real one or
the real
the fake
one.
one? Yeah.
No, the rapper one.
Freeway Ricky. No.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, the real Rick Ross. I know is the Freeway Ricky.
Yeah, that's the one you want to ask. You don't want to ask the rapper. The rapper was a prison guard. Do you know
Really?
that?
No.
Yes.
I love
yes.
him, though.
Well, the Freeway Ricky, who's been on the show a couple times, sued to get his name back and to keep this dude from using his name, because he was actually Rick Ross. That's his actual fucking
I heard
name.
this story. I didn't know he was on your show.
Dude, he's been on twice. Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky, was the guy who was selling all the cocaine that paid for the Contras when the Contras are fighting the Sandinistas in Nicaragua and that whole Oliver North shit. Of
course.
Freeway Ricky was the one who was selling all the coke to these people. He didn't know how he was getting these coke. He didn't know he was actually getting it from
CIA
people that
and
were
everything.
deep state. Deep state,
Dude, I'm
motherfucker.
telling you.
I'm telling you too, man.
Find the threshold.
And
Stay
he
under
learned
it.
he learned how to read it's a great story.
Wow.
Ricky learned how to read in jail, and then learned how to become a lawyer in jail, and then realized they tried him for they hit him with 3 strikes, but they hit him with 2 charges at the same time, which is not how 3 strikes work. So he went to jail for life and then got released for time served, because they tried him incorrectly.
Oh, right. So because one of his strikes was in.
Exactly. One of his strikes, they were at the same time. You can't do that. It has to be like, you go to jail, you come out, you go to jail again, you come out, you go to jail again. They go, all right, you're a criminal. And then they keep you in jail. That was the idea, which is fucked up, man.
Dude, what's it like sitting across the table from him?
He's a very nice guy, very smart guy. He was a tennis player, man. Played tennis in Compton. Yeah, couldn't fucking read, man. Couldn't read, played tennis in Compton, and was just seeing all these people around him that were making crazy amounts of money.
Wow.
And is a real calm, nice guy. And that's one of the reasons why he did so well. Is that he wasn't this crazy buck wild dude driving Rolls Royces, throwing money out the window. He wasn't that guy. He was like the cool, calm, collected John Wick sort of character that kept his shit together, and everybody respected him because of that. He just was like, the same reason why he learned how to be a lawyer while he was in prison. He's a systematic, intelligent dude who just had a shit education, grew up in a very bad, scary, dangerous environment, and, didn't even learn to read until he got to jail.
Link in the history of the Iran-Contra conspiracy.
The
and all
link,
that. Wow.
the cocaine link. He was the guy that figured out how to sell all this shit. And he was selling coke and didn't even know who he was selling it for. Didn't know that the people he was selling it for, like the contacts that he had, were directly supplied by the Oliver North
George
people.
Bush and wow. Interesting, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
wild.
I used to have an Oliver North for President t-shirt. I wore it just to piss people off. I didn't even know what it meant. I was like 17 or some shit.
Oh man, that's funny, dude. That's
yeah,
funny.
man. It's the whole thing's crazy that this Rick Ross guy, the rapper, was actually a prison guard. There's a photo of him with his fucking prison guard uniform on.
Well, I like him a lot.
Rick Ross, the rapper?
Yeah, I do. I like that
What's
record
that
with
big
"Devil
song?
Is a Lie" on
What's
it.
the big saying?
I don't know the big single. I don't know. The
I had one big one that I've sang before.
What's the record with "Devil Is a Lie" on it? That was a record that I loved.
What's his big hit?
Me and Manson hang out a lot, and we listen to Rick Ross all the time. That's like one
Really?
of our, yeah.
You guys just get together, do
I don't
coke,
know.
listen to Rick Ross.
No. I mean,
Well,
if the night's right. No, but like, I like the Rick Ross guy.
Manson was going to come in, but he wouldn't do it on camera. It was weird. Like he wouldn't do it after. He wanted to do
I
it.
bet he'll do it.
At a certain time of night. But it's like, here's the thing, man. Some of that shit is publicists. Because I'll tell you, the same thing happened with Liz Phair, who I'm a giant fan of.
100%.
I've been a fan of Liz Phair forever.
Me too.
And
Exile in Guyville was a fucking fantastic.
I fucking
record.
love
I bought
her.
that record and Evil Empire at the same time at the record store in Nashville, Tennessee. The Rage Against the Machine and Exile in Guyville.
Oh, wow.
Totally. My wife, also Misty, who we went to dinner with, who was listening, she loved Liz Phair too at the time.
She came and we got high together. She's like, "You can get high here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have a boss."
Alex Jones got high as fuck on here.
High
that
as
was
fuck.
fucking awesome.
He's trying to come back on, and I just don't know if I could do it.
Oh, come on. Let him come on. They're fucking
It's not
shutting him down.
They are shutting him down, but the problem is he's still on trial. This whole trial that's going on with Sandy Hook.
I
All that
know.
shit has to be resolved first. But it doesn't
I
make
get
sense.
it.
Like Bill Maher, respect to Bill Maher.
I love respect to him for saying he gets to speak too.
Yeah,
and I
he
agree
was
too.
he was on his show, and people were clapping and cheering that he was pulled off of these networks and pulled off of everything. He's like, look, this guy said crazy lies about me. This is what Bill Maher said. He said the guy said crazy lies about me. He goes, but he still gets to talk. Like this is what America's about. Free
It
speech
is.
means all speech.
But see, like, here's what I don't understand. Like, Alex had me on many times, and he supported my record Black Ribbons when it came out.
Did he really?
And yeah,
You've been
did.
on the Alex Jones show many times.
I've been on it 3 times.
Were you ever sober?
Yeah, every time.
Really?
Yeah, every time.
Never been
'Cause
on a show sober.
I've never. It was never a situation. Well, the first time I was, we had the Black Ribbons record that I did that has Stephen King on it and stuff. Like, so when that record came out, nobody would support the record. So Alex
Stephen
Jones,
King's on your record?
yeah, an older record from way
What did he
back.
do? Like some
He's
voiceover shit?
he plays a DJ, a radio talk show host that comes in and out of the record.
That's
probably-
Stephen King?
Yeah, that's Stephen King. So like when I did that record, Alex Jones was the only person that would support the record. He put it. He debuted the whole record on his show, and then it was on for 2 hours by phone, and then I went in and was on his show in person. About just the music business. That's all we were talking about, and like kind of how things were. And then later, I was on for Bitcoin discussion, kind of by Skype or something. But I will say this in his defense, in all of this, I just think that, like, dude, that guy has been saying things, conspiracy theories about all kinds of things. What do you want to call him that or not? But like forever, and like now, the situation is like so volatile that like they're gonna, the Sandy Hook thing. All right, so like they definitely caught fucking Anderson Cooper having the green screen and talk. It's probably because they had another person there talking to the mom, and then they
Wait, what happened? What is
well,
this?
There's a video of Anderson Cooper interviewing one of the moms from Sandy Hook, and he leans a little too far forward and his nose disappears, and it's probably because they had a stand-in reporter talking to the mom. And
What?
and Anderson Cooper was then like put in via whatever green screen, and like
Okay,
he kind of
I need to see
that.
this.
It is there. I mean, I know this is we're propelling, but my point is like, and I'm not. I mean, Sandy Hook. I remember where I was when I heard about Sandy Hook, and it was horrific. And I don't believe for a second that there's like it's all fake or anything like that. But like Alex's thing has always been that. I remember watching him go to Bohemian Grove. And when we did the fucking record, this is back when nobody was paying attention to him, it just a certain small group. But I remember we did the Black Ribbons record, and we took a clip of the laughing. He snuck into Bohemian Grove and filmed the ceremony. And there's like a scene where they, or not a scene, I guess scene in his film, but there's a part of that where they're doing the ceremony, and they have this like it's like Disneyland when you go watch
Moloch, the owl god.
yeah, but it's like it's done in a way where it's like Disneyland when you watch like the fairies fly around the castle. Like there was a whole thing where there was like a laugh that happens at the end of the Moloch thing or whatever, or the big owl and the funeral pyre
Guys
and all
dressed
that.
like druids.
Right. So like I used a part of that, but I remember watching that documentary, and he, his deal has always been so over the top where like you go, he's like, where are he like go to the local people near Bohemian Grove. He's like, we're looking for where the Satanists go to do their thing, and it's obviously at this point, it's not like people who are knowingly Satanists. It's like really old, fat, rich guys that go there. And there's probably hookers and all kinds of shit because that's what happens at big rich things.
Especially in the 90s.
I mean,
you
so
can get away with it.
You're right. And so like now with all this and they're crucifying him, especially the Megyn Kelly thing. And I just feel bad for him.
What do you mean,
because,
especially the Megyn Kelly thing?
Because that was clearly a hit piece with Alex, because like she buddied up to him and then focused that piece on the Sandy Hook thing. You know, they had their talk.
Wait, but in her defense, how could she not?
Of course,
if you're going to interview Alex Jones.
If I was going to come, but if I came here with the intention of like just talking to you, and then all of a sudden you were like, hey, on this day, on this thing, when you did this thing, like you focused on this one thing, I would be like, oh man, like this is a hit piece. Like,
yeah, but you're a musician, and this is what he does.
I know.
Alex is my friend. He's been my friend since 1999. I get more shit from being friends with Alex Jones than anything else in my life.
Because Alex Jones, you know what? I'm just saying, like, I'm sure I'll get hit for this, but the point is
check your Twitter.
I'm ready for it. You know what? I don't have time to check it. Maybe next year. But like, but the reality is I just think that, and I'm not even here from like the side of the political point of view. Is this it?
Let's watch this video. This is the video. It says HD quality, Anderson Cooper's disappearing nose, Greenstein clip debunked. Do you see that? Hold on. Do you see what it says? It says debunked.
Yeah, this
which
means it happens.
I think they had another person there.
Hold on, let him talk.
There's like bad quality video right here. It'll play about 3 seconds in. There's a weird part on his nose that happens, but to say it's a green screen, I would
well, the same people that are looking for conspiracies and everything, they used this to say that the space station didn't exist.
Right, but
hold on.
It's like right around right there.
Hold on.
And you can't even really see it. Something that really happens to his nose super quick. That looks like it's just like a digital glitch.
That's it?
No, that's not it.
And this is what
that's not the piece.
Thing says. I couldn't find it anywhere.
You've seen the other piece?
Yeah, I mean, he leans forward his nose. Look, here's what I think. I think that they had a stand-in because he couldn't be there.
But hold on, you might be wrong, right?
I could be wrong.
We're talking about several years ago. You might have a fucked up memory of this. Let's try to find the video.
Well, this said he was there all week shooting from the exact same location.
Okay.
Maybe he was. Maybe I'm wrong. But I mean,
they got you. They got to you, Shooter Jennings.
They didn't get to me. The point is like I would say the same thing if I saw
when you make more than $100,000 a year, a dude knocks on your door and starts talking to you about conspiracy.
$100,000, no way. Yeah, right.
Well, if you're making $34,000 a year, you look at people that make $100,000, like, damn, I
Yeah.
can pay all my fucking bills. How do you get to that $100,000 level? Well, you got to sell out, son.
Yeah, but
that's how people look at it, man.
But there is a threshold. There is a threshold.
I remember when I was broke, I had a Suburban. I wasn't broke, but I was doing all right. But I had a Suburban, and some guy and I got into a fucking road rage situation on the highway. And he goes, "You fucking rich asshole." I go, "Rich?" I'm like, "I'm driving a fucking Suburban, man." Like, what is rich to you? Rich is driving a Suburban? Like, what the fuck, man?
I have that. Like, I already had the rich thing because people thought that I was rich because of my dad, which I never was. I mean, he was supportive of me, but once I got here, I was kind of on my own. And I like that. But then once I talk about Bitcoin with you, like fucking 5 years ago or whenever it was, I was here 3 years ago. And everybody's like, "Oh, you got to be rich now because that." I'm like, "I'm fucking not rich."
From Bitcoin?
Yeah, but I mean, look.
What's up Bitcoin up to? Like $7,000 now?
Yeah, it went up to 19 for a second.
Keeps going down.
It hadn't dropped very much below $6,000. But I mean, when I was here with you, it was like less than $1,000. But you know, what I'm trying to say about this is not like I'm not validating this Anderson Cooper thing, but that dude has always been fishing for things like that, and it's always been his gig. And it's been his gig from Columbine. It's been his gig from all of this. And I understand the passion and the emotion involved with the children that died in Sandy Hook. And I'm not defending him on that deal. But at the same time, that's always been this guy's gig.
I feel like that is where he legitimately fucked up.
I don't think
if you take away,
I got to defend him. I just got to say,
but
it's
hold
okay
on a
for him
second.
to fuck up.
Yeah, but this is a silly fuck up. He's saying that for sure it was a fake.
But did he say for sure it's a fake?
Yeah, he did. People sent me the clip. They sent me the clip of him saying that it was 100% fake. He thought it was fake, so he said it. But
he thought it was fake.
Yeah, he thought it was a false flag, so he said it.
I mean,
but that's part of the that's a part of the conspiratorial thinking that's a real problem. It's like saying He said some shit about me. He said some shit about me that's 100% not true. He said that
Pre or post your interview with him?
I don't remember. I think it was post. It was post. He said that the government threatened my family to stop talking about conspiracy theories. No, nobody threatened my family. No one, zero, never happened, did not happen. It is fake. It is a lie. Someone told it to him, I guess, or he says someone told it to him. It didn't happen. So that's me.
I understand.
But do you understand like how frustrating that is? This is a minor thing. Him lying, not lying. Okay, he says someone told him. I believe he's telling the truth. But it's not true. He could have fucking called me. He's got my number, man. Call me. So he didn't even bother calling me. Joe, I'm about to go live from Austin, Texas. I need to know, did someone threaten your family? Stop talking about the moon landing and Bigfoot.
Sturgill said you had that down.
Do you fucking imagine they're going to threaten you? You got to stop talking about Bigfoot, man. Like,
well,
no, I did a show. This is a well-documented. I've talked about it 100 times on the podcast. I did a show called Joe Rogan Questions Everything. And during that show, over a period of 6 months, I fucking questioned a lot of shit, legitimately. But I did it with researchers. We had a staff. We had producers. We went and we actually went to like these places where these people are claiming to see UFOs. We went to these places where people are claiming to be able to, what is that shit they do? Remote viewing.
Oh, yeah.
We talked to those guys.
Goats, great movie.
We talked to all these people, and I found a clear thread through all of it that I documented in my 2014 Comedy Central special, where I said, here's what you don't find when you go looking for Bigfoot. Black people. What you do find is unfuckable white dudes. You are more likely to find Bigfoot than you are black people out looking for Bigfoot.
Also, alien abductions probably could be
It's dudes who can't get laid, and they go looking for hidden mysteries. I mean, this is a real big part of it.
I know.
My point is, from doing that show, it soured me off conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories were fun for me. And and especially Eddie Bravo, me and Eddie Bravo would get high and we'd watch documentaries on flying rods and all these UFO documentaries and all the fucking Zachariah Sitchin shit.
I love it. I love that stuff.
I love that stuff. But here's the thing.
My dad and I used to watch Chariots of the Gods all the time together.
It all falls apart under scrutiny. All of it does. All of it does. It's fun, but it falls apart if you're being a serious person and if you're really being honest about what you actually know. This is the problem. It's like the same in the parallels, like comparing to Alex Jones saying that my family was threatened is the same thing. My family was never threatened. No one ever threatened me. But he's saying this on the radio. Why is he saying it? Because someone told him, and maybe he believes it. And he also thinks it's fun to say. It's the thing to say if you're really into conspiracies. But this is the problem with these fucking conspiracies. They say things they don't know are true, and they say them like they're true. Now, this is fine if you just talk.
Is that
hold on.
Issue?
It's fine if it's not an issue if you're talking about the Illuminati. If you're talking about your kid getting shot,
right.
If your kid's dead, and someone says, "Hey, man, this fucking Tom Smith on the radio saying you're full of shit, you're a crisis actor, and your kid's not dead." I mean, you're crying every night. You wake up in the middle of the night crying because some fucking guy on pill. But you are a little bit.
No, I'm just defending his right to be Alex Jones.
Yes,
that's all.
And I defend that as well.
And I
I'm with
defend
Bill
David
Maher
Allen Coe for being David Allen Coe. One time
what did David Allen Coe do?
Well, I played a show with David Allen Coe. This is not any. Let's get Sandy Hook out of this because I'm not trying to talk about this like this. But I'm defending the right of people to be who they are. And I love David Allen Coe's music and all that. But I played a show with David Allen Coe one time, and my dad always would tell me these things about him. You know, he really liked David and everything, but there was always kind of a little distance of like, there was a showmanship part of him. And there, like, a good example of this, again, distancing from Sandy Hook, but a good part of it was that when David Allen Coe, we did a show with him one time. My mom was over on the side of the stage with me. I was opening for him. This is many years ago before I even had a first record out or anything. And David Allen Coe did we did our set, and then he played, and he was on stage, and he performed a song my mom wrote called Storms Never Last. So my mom's over on the side of the stage, and we're talking, me and my mom, and we're watching it, and he's singing it with his wife and stuff. The next night, I'm opening up for him, and he goes on stage, and he goes, "Last night, Jessie Coulter was right in the front row when I sang this song with my wife, and she was crying. And like, I'm sitting there going, I was here, and she was not crying. She was standing
Jessie
next to me.
Coulter,
She
your
was not on the
mom.
front row. Right. My mom, Jessie Coulter, wrote this song, Storms Everlasting. And that's his character. That's who he is. All I'm saying here with, like, I'm as forgiving about him lying to the audience because that is what he's doing at the moment. It's his. I could sit there and go, you know what? You're lying. I'm going to take you in the back. We're going to talk. I'm going to tell this audience tomorrow night he's a liar. He's a piece of shit. Fuck him. I'm not going to do that because it's David Allan Coe.
But you just did it on the show, which is a much larger audience.
Oh, right.
This is
right.
hitting
but I'm
millions
not calling
and millions
him a
of people.
piece of shit. I'm just saying I could do
you're in
that.
character.
But why would I do that
Right.
to him? Because it's like, you know, and
part
so
of his shtick.
I just feel like, look, man, the times that I met Alex, the times I've been around him, yeah, man, his gig is this.
Mm-hmm.
And he got called out for a specific thing. Yes, it involved the lives of children and everything like that. I understand that. I'm not at all sympathizing for those family or for him versus those families. But I'm just saying, I just think that, like, at the moment, everything is so hot with this, and it's kind of exhausting. And it's the internet is the reason for it, in my opinion, because I think that, like, all the years that have come along, the mass amount of people that have migrated to social media, the way that the integrated conversations happen, the way that stuff ends up on the news now, like AOL chat rooms in fucking 1998, that shit did not end up on CNN. People were not listening to those things. The best you could
Thank
get,
God.
the closest you could get to fucking TV was To Catch a Predator when you were on that at that time, you know. And I feel like at this point in time, people need, again, not those families, their lawsuit, that's fine, that's their thing, but I just feel like people need to lighten up a little bit in the sense of I just think that the social media thing is very hazardous, and I think that people's faith in all of it. It doesn't have to do with fake news, and it doesn't have to do with Russian bots and all this shit. I just think that, like, Alex Jones is a casualty because he's always been that
What do you
guy.
mean by it doesn't have to do with fake news and Russian bots?
I mean that, like, because there's always excuses for all the reasons
right, but
why
you
people
do understand
believe.
that's real, right?
I believe that, of course, fake news is real.
But no, Russian bots are real. That mean, there's an NPR document, a Radio Lab podcast about Russian troll farms. It's fucking fascinating. It's really interesting. I mean, where these people show up at work and their basic job is to put propaganda out on Instagram and social media and Twitter and comments and
I agree.
all that stuff.
I agree, but let's get out of the. Let me tell you an example. What I have seen of this. I run a bulletin board system called Bit Sunrise, which is like an old technology that used to be modems used to dial into bulletin board systems. You can telnet into it. Telnet is a port. Port 23 is the telnet port. Well, DVRs also share port 23. So
DVRs
DVRs
like your direct
DVR
TV
that
where
is
you're
connected
storing
to
your phone.
Not all. Yeah, where you
like if you record a show on a weekly basis.
it is on. There is an open port. It's not always 23 on the units, but it's shared with the telnet port. So during the election, during the months up to the election and the months after the election, I would say 4 months, 5 months leading up, 5 months after, on my bulletin. This is kind of technical when I'm trying to explain this to you, but when you telnet into a computer, you for mine you would telnet in and it would give you a login. It has a picture that's drawn and you put your name and your address or your password in and you log in. Well, during the 5 months leading up to the election and the 5 months afterwards, I was getting every day, probably all day long, 10 or 20 connections that were coming in, and they were just I wouldn't say a bot. They were scripts that were trying to log into DVRs and trying to log into like IP cameras that you can control and everything like that. So I was watching for that about a year period.
Let me pause you here. So you're saying that these bots were trying to control DVRs and cameras that people have on their televisions?
They were just testing, and 90% of them were coming from China. 10% of them were coming from maybe Russia and other places, but 90% China, Korea, because you can look at the IP addresses.
So what are they testing for? They're testing for flaws in the system? All they're trying to
do is they would be looking for a Linux login, which would be like log in, like if you were to telnet or SSH into a device like that, the first thing we get was a login, and usually it's root is the controller, and so they're just trying to find. They're just blindly going to IP addresses and trying to hack into them root, and then they try password, then they try like this, they try that, they try the So the Russian bot thing, I understand that, but I don't think it was a coordinated effort. I think that during that whole time, I was watching my computer. Like it's kind of, I'm getting real nerdy here, but it's like I have these games that that people play. And like once you get past the 13th, 14th, 15th node, which essentially means like once there's 15 people playing at the same time, then the games stop working. So I would be having to deal with these Chinese and Russian and all of them just mass trying to just break in. And it was because of the DVRs and because of the IP cameras. Like they were really literally trying to hack your system to just do whatever. I don't know what the purpose was, but I watched it, and it was China mostly. I mean, Russia was a small amount, and I think that all those countries all the time or have people that are constantly trying to hack and interact with these with our shit. I mean, it's just a thing. You know
there's
what I mean?
that as well. There's that as well.
Yeah, but I think it's part of it.
There's that as well. But there's
Right.
also people that are absolutely trying to influence elections. They're absolutely trying to influence our system, and they're trying to manipulate political parties, and they're trying to start dissent. And this is one of the things that's really fascinating about this Radio Lab podcast, where they talk about how these Russian troll farms literally set up protests. They hired people to pretend to be Donald Trump, and they hired people to pretend to be Hillary and put her in a cage and have people chant "lock her up." Like this is all the manufactured dissent and manufactured outrage that they're strategically promoting.
I mean, that's fascinating to me.
But here you got to think. Just pause for a second. You got to think. Russia is. You're talking about a giant place. Okay,
Yeah.
So to pretend that what's happening with these people hacking into DVRs and web cameras is all that's happening.
No,
Well,
I'm
there's
not saying that. I'm
but
just
you're saying what you're
I've
exposed
witnessed
to.
that.
You witnessed a small example of what happens when people are exploiting vulnerabilities in systems. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing that's going on.
No,
There's a
I'm not
lot-
saying that at all.
I know you're not, but I want to clarify. There's a lot of things that are going on. There's a lot of things that are going on because people are dealing with this new technology
Well, what do you
and
think
these new
happened
systems.
there? Like, what
In which
do you
way?
Well, with the Russian hacking election thing, and I don't like to get political because I don't really fucking.
You don't
give a
have to
shit
get
at the end
political.
of the
Look
day.
at it objectively. Look
No,
at it
no,
like a system. Like
100%.
Look at it like this. Look at it like you have a body, okay? And your body has an immune system.
Right.
And your
There's a
body's immune
virus.
system is constantly under threat of all sorts of different things. You fucking touch a doorknob, you wipe your nose. There's a lot of shit going on, right?
Yeah.
This is very similar if you just looked at it objectively to what happens whenever you have a server on the internet. When you hear about the Republican Party getting hacked into, or different people's emails getting exploited by someone from outside that's a hacker. What is that? Well, they're trying to find a way through the system. It's just a natural thing. If you put up a wall, people go, how do I get past that wall? If you make $34,000 a year and a guy makes $1 million, what does that guy know? This is a natural thing that happens.
But how is this any different? Like, I guess what I'm trying to ask about this, it's like when I was watching that happen with my system, it's like, how is this any different than what has gone on for the last 100 years?
Because it's
when
new.
It comes,
because it's new.
Or
Because no
it's
one has
been
been able to get into your...
discovered to some
No,
degree.
it's new. No one has been able to get into your folders before. No one's been able to get... No one kid sitting in Czechoslovakia who has a computer has been able to figure out how to turn your webcam on and watch you beat off. This is a new thing.
but we didn't have a webcam to beat off into
Doesn't matter.
before.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This is
I
a new
do.
thing. This is a new thing. So because
But
this is a
human
new
nature,
thing...
I feel like for some reason,
But it
it's
is
the
human
exact
nature.
same thing. I think
It
I feel
is
like
human nature, but I don't understand what your point is.
Well, I guess what I'm asking here is in the way of the. I just feel like the Russian bot thing was all of that. I feel like the Russian bots is a term for people who don't understand computers in a way, and they've just kind of thrown that out there as a political device.
Sometimes.
I think that Russia, China, Korea, like every other fucking country that is enabled in a way in which they're so far ahead technologically, was involved in all kinds of fuckery, and they're still involved in it, and will still do that during the election. It was fucking 100 times
For sure.
But it's hard for me with back circling around to the Alex Jones thing. All of this new technology, all of the people who are woke on
You gotta say wake.
Facebook. They're
Can't say
woke on
wake.
Facebook.
If you're wake, they know you're an agent.
Yeah, you're woke on Facebook.
I'm so wake.
It's like I felt bad for fucking Childish Gambino that he had a song that had "Stay Woke" in it, because immediately that song that was what an amazing song, and it was that term became dumb immediately. But I just feel like all of this that's happening, all of this talk, all of him getting banned, all this stuff, it's all this kind of like effect of the world. Instead of being out in the world, everyone has gone to this point where it's these groups, these really rich groups, Google and Facebook and Twitter and all this, and everyone has gone to this central point, and now they're lynching people. Whether or not you agree with Alex Jones, whether or not you like him, whether or not you think he's being lynched in the situation.
I lost you right there. So I get that there's all these people that are doing all these different nefarious things, and this has been going on forever, and now they're using new systems to do that. They're using the internet and all these open pipes and these connections that they can make to you.
But the trick is that the public is there. They've gotten them to go to this one arena. That is my problem with it. Is it's like, as much of a nerd and a technology person I am, I hate that people have, instead of really, they're sure they have their own lives, but like the fact that we have become so centralized to these small groups of internet companies like social media and things, and then now it's on both sides, man. Alex Jones is getting lynched, Harvey Weinstein, whatever. I know he's
that's a very
done
different
horrible
thing.
Things, but everyone.
That's a very, 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 very different thing.
I'm not defending him.
But I don't understand how you made
his
that
behavior. But
what's the connection?
The connection is the
The
fact.
connection is people are just attacking him. They're finding a place to attack.
The minute, look, those people could have suits against Harvey Weinstein. We can know about it. Of course, we knew about it because the Wall Street Journal or whoever, New York Times, who ran that thing.
Was it New Yorker?
Yeah, it was the New Yorker.
Yeah.
But like,
shout out to Ronan
I guess
Farrow.
my point is
Leave
that
me alone.
I'm sure this is an unpopular opinion, but I just feel like that the centralization of society into social media is resulting in a lot of things that are very ugly. And I think that the Russian bot thing, the Chinese hackers thing, the Alex Jones issue, the Me Too movement, all that stuff, which I'm behind all the people that were hurt. I'm behind the Sandy Hooks people. I'm behind the people who had the bad experiences in Hollywood, all that. I'm behind
So what are you
them.
proposing? What are you saying?
I'm just saying that I think that it's unhealthy. I think the social media thing has become too centralized. There needs to be a decentralized source.
How's it centralized? Because there's only a few groups like Facebook, Twitter,
they are
Instagram.
It's 100% centralized. It's owned by a group. It's several groups. It's several. Everyone's kind of going to McDonald's to have these conversations, as opposed to it being something that is a little more healthy. I just think that people. I think Alex Jones should have always been able to be crazy in his world, and he was always nice to me. And like you said, he's your friend. You
know what the problem with Alex is? He needs someone sitting right next to him. Someone like me. Someone who, when he talks and he says something crazy, you go, wait a minute, how do you know that? And he goes, well, we have the documents. Well, show me the documents. Well, the documents don't say that. Well, the problem is, Joe, that they are definitely trying to influence. And you go, yeah, they probably are. But if you leave him alone, and just let him rant. By the way, he's doing 6 hours, 8 hours of radio a fucking day. And he's definitely likes to drink. So he's doing 6 hours of radio a day. At least 3 of them are drunk. And he's fucking filling time and screaming, and no one can say anything to him. And he's the fucking man over there. That's also part of the problem. He's got a bunch of these other people that are around him all the time, and they're conspiracy theorists as well, but they're 28, and then they're hanging out with Alex Jones, and he goes on these rants, and no one interrupts him.
It's a broad argument with all of it, because I agree, but he was always transmitting. He was always like, hey, show me where the Satanists are going to worship, to sacrifice children.
That's fine. But
I get it.
I think what happened is now the idea is that he's influencing people politically, like the whole the whole Podesta Pizzagate, all that stuff was
Right.
scared the shit out of people when that guy showed up at that pizza place and fired off a round, and
Right.
and then they wound up arresting him, and they really thought there was a dungeon in the basement where they're keeping kids.
Centralizing in social media is the cause for a lot of these reactions.
But is that
like
centralizing in social media, or is that people exciting people to go and take action against something that may or may not even be real? Are you allowed to yell out fire in a crowded theater? Right? This is
Right.
ultimately the problem.
Right.
It's not whether or not he believes in Bohemian Grove, which is real, and he
Right.
proved it on video back when they had VHS tapes, and I watched it. I mean,
Right.
I've known Alex since 99, or 98, I think, maybe. I've known him for a long-ass time. And this is a very big difference between then and what's happening now as far as the reach and influence. And I think people are sort of panicking about reach and influence and what it means and how to mitigate it, how to change people, how to stop people from going into pizza places and shooting them up because they think that something that they heard online is true. There's a lot of stuff that people hear online that is just not true. The lizards underground or the
Right,
fucking
or the
earth being
flat earth
flat.
thing,
There's a
yeah.
lot of stuff that's just nonsense. So it's hard to separate. Here's what I think. I think we are going through an adolescent stage as a being, as an evolving being. And I think our bodies and our minds and our consciousness are becoming synchronized with technology. And along the way, like right now, we are in this chaotic, screaming, sweating, crying, pissing, shitting state of chaos. And we are looking to figure out how to stop the bleeding. We're looking to shove thumbs into dikes meaning like dams. And we are looking to try to figure out a way to stop the bleeding. We're trying to put patches and Band-Aids on things. We're trying to manage the chaos. We're trying to figure out what. And this is a stage that we're going through. Because
see, I think
hold
the
on a second.
synchronization
This
is
is a
bad.
new thing. This is a new thing for human beings. The ability to communicate widespread over millions and millions of people instantaneously is a new thing. So people have say that never had say before. They have influence that never had influence before. They have their ability to contribute, and they might not have thought these things through, and these things catch fire, and they run through dry forests like a goddamn tornado of flames that you see on CNN when the Mendocino fire up in Northern California.
Yeah.
This is what happens with ideas because there's no way to contain them, and they don't know what's right or what's wrong. I think that what we're going through from the period of 1994 to the period of 2018 is like a crazy fire in the middle of a hurricane. It's like everything is nuts and no one knows how to stop it and no one knows what to do. And what do? We get together in shelters and we fucking give people water and we try to stop the fire and take away everyone's lighters. And that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to take away lighters. We're trying to stop people who start fires. And this is what's happening with Alex. And it's not that Alex is a bad guy. Is that he's by himself. Okay?
Irresponsibility.
It's irresponsible to say that you know for sure a fact that these parents from Sandy Hook are crisis actors and their kids never died. It's irresponsible.
Right.
And he didn't think it was irresponsible when he was doing it because he's probably caught up in what he does and he's caught up in the wave of ad-libbing, just like you and I are ad-libbing.
Right.
We didn't even talk about what the fuck we were going to talk about,
No,
right?
you just turned on and we went.
We just turned on and went.
But
We had a
you're-
couple of
that's
drinks.
very right. What you're saying there is very right. I don't mean to cut you off.
It's okay.
But what you're saying there is very smart because to me, you're right. He has always been doing this, and at this
Yes.
point in time, his reach has grown.
Right.
And-
He's
and
now
that way-
there's a wind behind him.
Right,
He used
which-
to be, in Seattle, it was raining every day, and he had a little patch of dry newspaper, he'd light that shit on fire, and everybody go, Alex is crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what I'm trying to articulate, and I'm not doing it as well as I wanted to, but I think what my problem is the synchronization of consciousness is what I'm not into. I think just like you have a rut of people who believe that, now believe that the Sandy Hook thing is fake, and they're calling the families because of this conversation. This is where that lawsuit is really coming
Yeah.
from, because the other people. But then you also have another side of it, and it could be back in the day when they said that Paul McCartney was dead.
Right.
And they got harassed, but it was on such a small level because there was no way to just email Paul McCartney and say, or email and say, you're not the real Paul McCartney. You're fucking dead.
Not
You're
just
a
that,
faker.
there was no way to exchange these ideas among people
other people.
constantly
So you
in
create-
real time on Facebook all day long.
Which is the centralization that creates these rivers and these ruts that people who don't know what to do in, they fall into one rut or another, and
Right.
they kind of become this kind of streamlined thing. So I think the way you just described it is very articulate.
This
and
is a new
educated.
thing, man.
It
This
is.
a new thing. When we are in a
don't
really
think it's
exciting
healthy, though.
time. But why I say that? Because they used to say that about the printing press. They used to worry about that with the written word. They used to worry about that with everything. The distribution of information is not. It's not whether or not it's healthy. It's just a part of what this being does. What this being does is constantly search for innovation and novelty. That's what the human being does.
But like the I guess
Right?
I guess yes. But
Look,
I guess
look at your phone over there, man. You got a fucking iPhone. Don't you think you could go to the people making iPhones and go, "Hey, bro, we're good.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is
stop
fine. You
right
can
there."
Stop. Yeah.
But it's not. We're not good. These motherfuckers are ready to come out with the iPhone 11.
But like the guy
they're
who
not going to
invented-
stop.
The guy who invented the web invented hyperlinks, and the idea was that if someone
We
wanted
got to
to
get high, dude. This is just. we're too
Oh,
slow
I'm
here.
in. I'm in. So, like, the guy invented the web.
We're going.
and
we're in
I don't know
stoner
his
talk
name, and I
category.
should know his
Al
name.
Gore, motherfucker.
No, right? Yeah,
it wasn't?
that's funny.
You think he lies?
So this
Shit.
cat, all he wanted to do was make it basically were like medical documents where you would say like, you know, this guy had a brain transplant, and then brain transplant would be underlined, and you clicked on that, and it would take you to a link that explained brain transplants, and that would be worldwide. So the internet is decentralized, and the web is decentralized to some degree. Okay, now Google coming in with search engines, like that's focusing points. What scares me is those people being, like Facebook being the avenue in which everybody talks. Like I
What
would
should scare you is that weed I just handed you. Holy shit! I took 2 hits and I'm not even here anymore. Whew, I'm in a
can't be high
neighborhood.
yet.
I am very high. That's a blunt. That's legit. I took 2 hits.
I like the little
and
glass
I'm
thing.
nervous. Oh yeah, we don't fuck around here in California, son.
But you know what I mean? Like, I just have a problem with the centralization of the companies owning
I
the avenues in which people
Get it?
talk.
I'm right with you on that. I think we need more YouTubes. I think we need more venues for people to distribute information. But I also think we need more love. I think this is
100%.
more compassion. There's so much hate and anger towards each other. Let's keep
I
going.
mean, I feel like
Let's
I'm going to get
dark.
nailed here on this because I am not.
Well, that's part of the nervousness about doing a live show, right?
Yeah, but
especially while you're
I'm
intoxicated.
not. I would say the same. Well, I mean, I'm not.
I'm
that
very nervous right
intoxicated.
now.
I have a fucking drink, but I
I
would
just
say
had 5 hits. I'm very nervous.
I would say that. Oh, this is one of those ones where they. That's
Yeah,
nice.
it's tobacco, and some shit that was grown on Mars. Neil Armstrong grew this weed. That's what I
Man,
heard.
see, I again, it was just like there was a point.
Well,
in
you're
time,
trying to make sense right now. This is part of the problem, right?
I know.
This is why I wanted us to get high.
And we're getting super serious about
Right.
topics that mean a lot to people, and
we don't really
obviously-
know enough about
Right.
them.
I just feel like I just wish that there weren't like again. I feel like there's ruts that people have to fall in to communicate, and and there's ruts that are owned by these companies that are very fucking rich and very.
Well, here's the
expensive.
thing, too. These companies didn't see this coming. Like,
I'm libertarian. I'm not either way, and just in the sense, I'm not really that. I don't even fucking know what that is. All I know is I don't believe in trusting anybody who says, "Hey, I'll take care of you. Come this way. Just don't worry about a thing." And they're the ones making all the money. And it's like that's how the internet has become. It used to be a wild west of information. Emails are fucking information. That's me communicating with you and no one else seeing it. That's beautiful. And I think the idea of Twitter and Facebook and all that is fantastic when it first started. But at this point in time, it's gotten so big. If it doesn't break up into something where people figure out that they are in control of the internet, not these other people, that's what it bothers me.
okay, so what bothers you is that someone comes along and says the people aren't in control of the internet. So it's not like a free market. So
It is a
hold on
free
second.
market.
Come on. If it was a
Sorry.
free market, it's a free market. A guy like Alex Jones, you'd say, this guy's preposterous. I'm not listening to him anymore. When it's not a free market is when YouTube I don't know if they collaborate or if they just all
Who
agree.
knows?
I don't know if they all agree, but they just all decide. Everyone's going to take him off. Facebook's going to suspend him for 30 days. Twitter's going to suspend him for a period of time. YouTube's going to remove him. All these people are going to take Vimeo, jumped on ship, and they pulled him off too. So this becomes an issue. Like, what is it that causes you to get removed? What is it? And should we be really clear on that, or is this just a whim? Because this is a really important thing. If we really are fucking with free speech, we have to be very careful on what we decide is a valid reason to pull people off of our airways. Because if you have stuff on your airways that's far more vile and you let that stay up because it doesn't have the same reach, like, what is your criteria? It doesn't have the same influence. It doesn't have the same political ties to it. Like, what is the reason why you're pulling one thing off and not another thing? Is it because of a popularity issue? Have you searched your trillions of fucking hours of footage for offensive speech, content, ideas, disinformation? What have you really done to mitigate this issue? Or are you acting on this because it's a social hotspot issue right now, which it most certainly is, and most certainly should be? I really think that Alex needs a guy right next to him. He really
I understand
if Alex
that.
and I did a show
I feel
together,
that way about Howard Stern.
Man, no, not the same comparison.
I
Because
love
Howard's,
him,
listen, man.
I listen to him every day, but sometimes I want to be like, dude, are you kidding me?
Well, that's also part of his charm. Part of his
Right.
charm is he creates dissent and arguments, and you want to get mad, and you want to either. He's opinionated.
Well-
but Howard Stern's very responsible. He's a different guy. It's not the same thing.
I mean, I'm not trying to compare Alex to him. I'm just saying that sometimes I feel the same way about him and
People
other
feel that
people.
way about us right now.
Oh yeah, people
This
tell
is
me
just-
quit cutting fucking Giorgio Moroder tribute records and do a country record, and I do a country record right now, and they're like, it's kind of corny. No, no, I got a record coming, by the way.
I'm sure you
like the
do,
record.
dude. I told you I wake up to triskaidekaphobia every morning.
I love that you.
That's
I love
a fucking
that you,
fact, man.
That's
Look,
that's the Stephen King record.
watch. I will. I'm gonna fucking set it so people know I'm not bullshitting. I'm gonna set my alarm. What time is it right now? It's 2:05. I'm gonna set my alarm for
2:03.
2:05.
2:05, perfect.
And
You
at
got 1 minute.
2:05,
I love it.
Triskaidekaphobia.
I also just along
Give
with
me
what
some
you're
volume.
saying, is it's like
Oh, it is 2:05, guys.
it is. It has to be free.
Hold
the
on,
whole thing.
2:06. I gotta
No, it's
change it.
2:04. Oh, your cathode ray light or
That thing's
clock
bullshit.
isn't
That
right.
thing's bullshit. Oh, it just turned 2:06. Come on, bitch. Why don't you go on? Try. It thinks I'm retarded.
See,
Let's go with 2:08 p.m. That's a fact. That's
There
gonna
you
work.
go.
We give ourselves a little buffer.
no, I just feel like and I fucking this topic could be. I
No,
don't
this
mean
is.
to roll
Listen,
on,
man,
but-
we're not qualified to have this conversation, but no one is.
Yeah,
So
I
it's just
agree.
as long as we're honest about how we feel about things. Look,
I just
you can
think the
go, oh,
internet
you
should be
guys are
free to
off. You guys
everybody.
are off. Yeah, we're a little off.
I believe in protecting children's innocence in a certain way. That I agree with YouTube not allowing porn and stuff like that. Because like my kids
Right.
look at YouTube all the time.
But what
like,
about Twitter? Twitter allows a certain
Yeah,
amount of
they-
porn.
oh,
Sometimes
totally
I'm flipping
do.
through my
You ever looked
timeline.
at
I
Ron
gotta duck
Jeremy's?
my phone down. I gotta go, yo, Kendra Luss, slow it down.
Yeah, nice call out. Yeah, I mean, it may as well have I believe if ISIS, if Alex Jones, and if the unboxing of the LOLs can exist.
What does that mean?
And, like
Wait a minute, what's
what I,
unboxing
the
of the
little
LOLs?
my daughter, these toys, LOL Shopkins and things like that, where they show videos of them, or the slime videos of doing the slime.
okay. I was
like
confused.
YouTube and those kind of things. I just think that there's a certain level of just ignore it if you don't like it.
Well, it's not your thing.
The lawsuit thing, totally, that's out of this context a little bit. He went too far with that.
There's a
but-
big difference between something that you might find gross and something that changes culture. So I
yeah, of
think
course.
what they're worried about is, do you remember when Jim Acosta did that? He went to that Trump rally and they went crazy on him. Do you remember that shit?
I don't know.
It was a recent thing, like
Jim
a couple weeks ago.
Acosta's,
He's a CNN anchor who is
yeah.
reasonably
I think
self-righteous, but
Yeah.
he's in a difficult situation. He has to challenge the president of the United States, who is also a famous celebrity billionaire guy who has his name on buildings. I mean, this literally is Rosebud. This is the tale of Citizen Kane. I mean, this is someone with ungodly power and influence. And this and I'm not standing up for Jim Acosta. I'm just going to say, just put yourself in that guy's position. What a crazy spot. You're yelling out questions at the President of the United States, who also happens to be Donald Trump. You think like you're on acid. The world has gone into a vortex of crazy, and you're the guy by some fucking freak of chance, whether you're Jim Acosta or Don Lemon or fill in the blank. Everyone... Oh, damn it. It went off. You heard it.
You hit the button.
I accidentally hit the button. I'm going to
set
it to 9 so
right.
we can do this correctly. But I mean, if you're one of those fucking people, I'm going to hold this bitch
It
up
was
here.
the weed. You thought, oh shit, I got to turn that off.
Yeah, I only have a few seconds to go. If you're one of those fucking people and that's your job and we expect them to handle that, that's probably like being Beyonce and The Rock on steroids. You know,
yeah, who wants to be any of those people,
but in a negative way. It wouldn't be those two because those are like very beloved celebrities. Like very few people are as beloved as The Rock or Beyonce. They're pretty much universally beloved, like uniquely
the same
so.
person.
Uniquely so. They're so loved, and so deserving of that love. But if you're a guy like who's like a real like Tekashi 6ix9ine, that kid. Like, you imagine the hate that guy gets all day. Now imagine what.
Who is that?
He's a rapper. Listen to this.
Yeah,
brother. Every morning I wake up to you, my friend.
Love it.
I hope this doesn't get us pulled off of YouTube.
Well, Alex
Here we
played that
go.
whole thing on the air that night.
Shooter Jennings, bitch. Recognize. Oh, you brought an album.
Oh,
Just
we
got
own
delivered.
it. We can sign off on it. Oh, that's yours.
Oh, beautiful.
That's my new record.
Dude, I love it.
Thanks, Adam.
Dude, you got some badass fucking music.
Oh, thanks.
You really do. I love your music. And you know, one of the things that I love about your music is like, it's all different, man. You got some straight up country. Put the O back in country. You got you've got that whole album, man. It's like a badass country album, you know, but like with this twist, like a respectful country album that also has a lot of like modern wickedness to it,
Well,
you know?
I appreciate it. That was the point. Like when we were doing the first record, it was me and Ted Russell Camp, who still plays with me, and Leroy Powell, who doesn't play with me anymore, but he played on that record. He played guitar. Brian Keeling was the drummer. When we started doing our shit, like our idea was we were living here. You know, 2003 we started recording the first record, and I had moved here 3 years ago. And we were like, our whole thing was like, we like rock music because it sounds cool, and we like Dylan, and we like, you know, or even I wasn't even smart enough to like Dylan then. We were like into fucking, you know, Bowie, and I kind of came from the Nine Inch Nails side. That's how I got into music. We kind of talked about that in the other show, but like by that time, the idea was like, can we make country music? We like the old stuff, but have it sound cool, and
Right.
why can't we bring in like the stuff that's cool about rock, and why can't you go psychedelic, and why can't you kind of push the limits that way? And we were just dumb and trying to do it that way. And Dave Cobb, who produced this record, we met back then, and he produced the first record, and he was the same way. We were like more Beatles, Stones, Bowie kids musically in the amount of records we listened to, and you know, obsessed over Pink Floyd and stuff, you know, than we were country. So we were kind of trying to blend those two back then. I you know, but we were just trying and starting and doing weird shit, and then after a while just evolving.
Yeah, but then your next album would be totally different. Like, you don't give a fuck, dude.
It's about the
You're
record,
like a guy
man.
who invested in Apple in the 80s. Because you just do your music, man. You do your music, and whatever you're into right now is like what you do. It's really interesting. Like
I appreciate you saying that.
I mean, I've listened to every one of your CDs, and there's only a few of them that are even similar. You know,
Right.
similar to each other. They're all your albums. I guess you can say albums again.
Right. Oh, yeah,
Because it became
totally.
CD for a while, but who the fuck gets a CD,
No, it's
old
albums.
man? And then it's like, I can't say online playlist. Your newest online playlist. Like, what do I say about your newest
Albums are playlists, man. It's
thing?
like
Your newest
you say.
audio release.
Yeah, man. No, you know, once Black Ribbons happened, man, I did the first record, and that was kind of my take on country and our take as a band, and Dave Cobb. And then before that record came out, we started recording the second record, and I was like, the first song I wrote was the song Electric Rodeo, and I was like, I wanted to go heavy. I wanted to like just really show up and like do this kind of hard rocky sounding. And what I mean by that is like, you know, fucking we're into Zeppelin and shit. We weren't into like 90s music. It was like you know, 70s shit, but it was like hard rock, crazy effects,
the immigrant song,
kind of going crazy, but with the country songs there. And I always felt if Electric Rodeo got considered a country record when it came out and charted, then I felt we had done our thing. But it did come out and it did chart. But once we came out with that, we had Universal who had been behind us, and they had basically been the people that worked at Universal had been kind of, in my opinion, in their opinion, duped, because Tony Brown and Tim DuBois, who believed in me, and we had done this record without a deal, and I sent it to Tony Brown because I knew I just, as a kid, had met him, and him and my dad had done business, and I liked him, and he had made me feel like he liked me. So I sent him this record after me and the band and Dave did the record, and they believed in me, and they signed it, and he kind of like remixed our first song so they would play it on radio, and Tony was a big producer, still is. I mean, he produced like the first bunch of Steve Earle records, and he played piano for Elvis. Like he was our label head, so he kind of remixed it so it would get on radio. So I'm thinking they like me because we have like kind of a number 24 hit. So I'm like, I'm gonna hit them with some good shit now. And then I hit them with what I thought was the good shit, and they said, "This is not what we signed up for. We are out. You're out." And I never got played on radio again. So
well,
so after that, I stopped caring.
That's on them, dude.
I know.
It's the reason why your music is so it's just good. I mean, I like a lot of great music, and your music is great. But it's also that you're clearly coming at this from an artist's perspective. You're not a marketing genius by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
Your dad's fucking Waylon Jennings, dude. I mean, you have the in of all ins. You have your dad is like a super legend. You know, I mean, he's a super legend. But you choose to legitimately carve your own path in the wildest of ways. It's really interesting how you do that.
Well,
and I think that thoughtfulness that allows you to be free like that is also what allows you to explore these like complex issues like censorship or Bitcoin or any of these things that are like, whoa, this is some heavy stuff. Like you have a curious approach to these things and an ability to express who you really are, right? Which is what comes out in your music. It's not like your image. You're just doing what you really feel when you're writing it.
Right.
I think that's a big part of community. That's a big part of being a person. Like, let some person uniquely be themselves. And I think this is a real issue with social media, is that people are so terrified of expressing themselves because they're terrified of the hate they get back, but then they get addicted to attacking other people that are failing or other people that are making mistakes. And I think this again goes with this whole fucking chaos thing that we're talking about before. I mean, I think we're in the middle of a storm right now.
Yeah.
And I think that your take on Alex Jones and Bill Maher's take on Alex Jones and what we're saying here about him, it doesn't in any way negate arguments that you shouldn't say some of the things he's saying. We agree with you, but we also say human beings, we have to figure this out together. And if you start conflict, and one great way to start conflict is to ban and to take people down, call people a Nazi that aren't really a Nazi, like decide that someone's an alt-right white supremacist when they're really not at all. They're a liberal and a Democrat, and you know they are. You're saying crazy things because you're trying to demonize people and slot them into groups. We have to reject that with every fiber of our being, because this is tyranny. This is a type of group tyranny that, although it's not connected to a network like the fucking, the KKK or the Democrats or the Republicans, it's still this chaotic group think thing that happens where we decide to go after people and stop being compassionate, stop being just a human being who recognizes that other human beings are flawed and they make mistakes and they do stupid shit. But as soon as you oppose them so vehemently for something that really should be treated with curiosity and compassion and maybe a little bit of understanding and mockery, instead of that, there's this anger and this vitriol that we just have to put a curb on shitty thinking.
I agree. It's kind of like new Roman Coliseum social media.
It is in a way, but it's also
people fighting each other and cheering it on.
The court of public discourse is massive now. It just opened up a gate. It was a little trickle. It was like that fucking border patrol station in Mexico. It's hard to get in the country, bro. If you want to be that guy who risks his life in the middle of August and take your family through the fucking desert with a couple of jugs of water, and you're gonna walk and hope you find a job.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it used to be like.
Hey.
What this is like is the walls came down and they changed the law, and everybody said, "Go ahead in," and everybody's in. Ah! And in and down too. People going down too, up and down, just opening it up. It's getting crazy. See, this is what everybody's afraid of, and this is what's happening right now with information. This is what's happening for the very first time ever. Between this period of 1994 and 2018, it's been this inevitable change in the way people are able to express information and who gets to express information. They'll question the legitimacy of someone who becomes famous through the internet, but not famous through NBC. He made it. He's on NBC. Meanwhile, this guy is just talking it to his webcam. He has 30 times as many people paying attention to him. Why is he wrong? Why is he incorrect? Because he didn't go through your established channels that have existed with who's your gatekeepers? Oh, guys like Harvey Weinstein were your gatekeepers. Bitch, get the fuck out of here. You don't get to dictate what's interesting or what's creative or what sounds good, what kind of music people like. It used to be that if you liked rock, you didn't like country. When I was a kid, you were a loser if you liked Kiss.
Right.
Dude, you would get categorized. I had to hide some music that I liked, and Kiss was one of them.
That's funny, man.
I told Paul Stanley, he didn't seem to appreciate that. I told Gene Simmons once too. I was like, dude, I'm sorry, but it was true. I was loyal back when it was uncool to like Kiss, and then it turned around and became super loyal. Eddie Bravo has the same story. We both were embarrassed to be Kiss fans. But meanwhile, now I fucking love Kiss.
Yeah,
I love Kiss. But I also love Willie Nelson.
Right.
I love listening to all kinds of different shit.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
Country
they're not mutually
comes along,
exclusive.
too. Like for me, I grew up with my dad, but country came along. Like once I started living life and I started appreciating the songs. You know what I mean? Like when you start actually kind of understanding the words and all that, and it hits you. And you're like, oh shit, this shit is like the heavy shit.
Yeah, it's like there's some deep fucking emotions to country songs. I mean, Johnny Cash, just his lyrics alone, like some of his songs are fucking phenomenal, man.
Yeah,
they're phenomenal.
Yeah, you know what one always blows me away on Cash is The Man in Black. Still to this day, the lines like what is it? The thousands that died thinking that the Lord were on their side, and then here's to the hundreds of or tens of thousands that died thinking that we were all on their side, like that verse and everything. I was looking at it. I forgot to look it up. Hey, would you mind looking up who wrote The Man in Black? Sorry to ask you that, but I've been dying to know that because I wanted to know if Shel Silverstein was involved or if it was just Johnny Cash that wrote it. But that's such a beautiful song.
Dude, how about Folsom Prison Blues? All right, of course.
Oh,
that's one of the all-time.
Fantastic.
But how about God's Gonna Cut You Down?
Oh, that's Misty's favorite.
Good Lord, that's a song.
I love that song.
That's a song that chills you to your bones.
Yeah,
because he was an old man when he did that song too. Oh my God, that's good.
It has that right, the big kind of beat,
Jesus Christ, that's good.
That one and The Man Comes Around, those two were really smoking.
And even A Boy Named Sue.
Chair. Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous.
That's Shel Silverstein. That's why I was wondering. Yeah, Shel wrote that. Shel's he's the guy that brought the New York sense of humor and really cultured writing style, like the kind of Hunter S. Thompson world. He's the link between that and country music, for sure, Shel Silverstein. I got to be around him a couple times when I was young.
He wrote it.
Though Cash wrote the signature song "Man in Black" to explain
That's cool.
the social conscience behind his wardrobe choices, just so we're reminded of the ones who are held back. In fact, he took to black simply because it was easier to keep clean on long tours.
Hey, yeah, look at that.
Early in his career, fellow acts teased him about it, calling him the Undertaker. Oh shit, he was the Undertaker before the Undertaker was the Undertaker.
Sorry. Yeah, these lyrics could really. I mean, they're this time right now.
They're so
Seriously.
good. He was a monster, man. Johnny Cash is a monster.
Yeah, he was cool as fuck.
He's a monster.
He just had He just had this energy about him. Are those like colas? Zero?
Yeah, they're Zevias. It's a
Kind of like a Dr.
stevia flavored beverage, so it doesn't have any calories. It's guilt-free mouth pleasure.
Mouth pleasure.
Yeah, man, he had songs that were, there's so many of them that were just, if you think about the time that he was writing them.
And to come up through the
Yeah.
Sun scene and Elvis and all that. That was a weird thing. He came in
Yeah.
through Memphis.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a beast, man. No question. It seemed like he kind of died on his own terms. He died like a man.
He died
Yeah.
after June died. It was like right after June died.
That was also the way he was handling it, too. You know?
Yeah.
When he did that 9 Inch Nail song.
Yeah, Hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was intense.
Intense.
So how old was he? See if you can
was
find
on
that video.
mushrooms the first time I saw that video.
Oh,
I was
no.
in my room, my old, here in L.A., in the Stargun house that was the pink house over by the Tomcat Theater on Santa Monica Boulevard. You know what I'm talking about? And
No.
Paris Nude, the place where you can go in there.
Oh.
I've heard. You can
Where's
go in there
it
and
at?
take pictures of women. It's Santa Monica and Gardner.
Okay.
Anyway, this little pink house we had over there. And I was watching that video on mushrooms, and I was like, fucking, goddamn, like...
Let me see this. Did you find it?
Yeah, I just can't find the year. It's 2002.
when did
2002
When did
covered it.
Johnny die?
I think
2005 or something like that?
No, it was like 3.
2003?
I was living in this apartment on Beverly, like by the Beverly Center, and it was like I remember that when that happened.
Say 3, Jamie? Yeah.
I saw him there. I got to be around him a lot when I was on the road. When I was like the first Highwayman record came out, I was 6, 5, and we all went on the road. And so like Willie's daughters, Amy and Paula, were out. No, actually, maybe they were out. I think they were out. The Christopherson, the Christophersons had their family, and then we went again for Highwayman 2. But the one we were like 5-year-olds.
I wish we could play music on this show. I would
Yeah.
play that Highwayman song. I fucking
Yeah.
love that
Oh,
song.
man.
And when
Jimmy
Johnny comes
Webb
on,
wrote that, man.
I
He's-
fly a starship
I flew a
across the
goddamn
universe
space car.
divide.
Yeah.
And when I reach the other side, man,
Oh man.
that was a great fucking album. It was a great song. Have those guys all together,
Yeah, it was cool.
As a
Chips
team?
Moman produced
Yeah,
that
man.
record. It was
phenomenal
smoking.
shit. I fly a starship.
But that's Jimmy Webb wrote that. Who wrote, by the time I get to Phoenix, Galveston. He wrote MacArthur Park. He wrote all like that motherfucker of a songwriter. And that
God
song is kind of
damn.
about reincarnation. It's like his original song is about one person who lived through these different lives, and then he ends up
Yeah.
being a simple drop of rain after
Yeah.
the starship.
And he was a highwayman.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's amazing. That's what we're scared of. We're scared of being a single drop of rain again.
I'd love
Scared.
it. It'd be so much fun.
I don't know, dude. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I know, but wouldn't it
I
be
think-
easy just to
I
fall
think
for 5 seconds?
It
and
was
then
sure, for
on to the
sure,
next?
absolutely, and on to the next forever. How about that? How about
Yeah.
for billions of years? How about you go back to being a single-celled organism? You start from scratch, go through evolution
I'm in.
again. You're like, no way,
Totally
but you
in.
did it. It doesn't matter. What matters is the moment, and that's an impossible concept to grasp for people who collect stamps.
Man.
You know,
Yeah.
you got a bunch of shit you're holding up in your house because you're trying to put like some sort of rigidity to this ethereal world that we live in. You're
Right.
trying to put some structure to this.
And
This-
everybody forgets to enjoy it.
yeah,
And I
this
think
is
that's
chaos.
kind of part of the point earlier too, is it's just like, man, everybody it gets wrapped up. You said it. You were talking about when you were just afterwards, but you were talking about everybody gets sucked up into all these different, fucking
yeah.
confrontations
Yeah.
all the time. And it's like, and it takes all of your attention. Like, I think the
Dude, I
reason
think we
that
can
albums,
change that. I really do.
But I
I think that's
albums
fixable.
aren't listened to like they used to be because we used to have so much time, man. You used to sit
Right.
in your room and that's all you had. And now there's this constant focus.
Yep.
It's like, there's a way. And I think the only answer is there's going to have to be some established decentralization of the internet that returns it to the form in which all can exist digitally as they do physically, just like we do now. And we're going to have to figure it out as a
I think that's
society.
coming, dude. I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop it.
No
Because
regulation.
one of the things that's interesting is the people at the very top of the heap, we always thought were the proponents of free speech. We always thought that the repressive people were the right-wing conservative people that wanted to stop progress and stop nudity and people smoking pot and
Right.
Tipper Gore wants to ban rap music. Remember all that? That's what we
Yeah.
always thought. But actually, Tipper Gore was a Democrat.
Randolph Hearst
That's a
started
very
a lot
bad
of that.
analogy. Tipper Gore was Al Gore's wife.
Hey,
That
remember
was-
Tipper Gore but she had the stickers. put on
Stickers,
the-
yeah. Explicit
Parental-
lyrics.
parental
She got a hold of
advisory.
some fucking old school iced tea and blew her wig. But we always that's a bad example because she was a Democrat.
great
That was,
example.
But it is an example of like forget about Democrats or Republicans. It's basically people in power trying to control other folks.
Yeah.
This has been going on forever.
Right.
It's just what people do. But we always thought of it as being the conservative ones that were like the most the most into suppression of free speech. Stop people from
yeah.
swearing, stop the nudity, stop the pornography. It was always thought of as being a conservative thing. But I would argue, like today, it's almost like your behavior is more restricted on the left than it is even on the right. The right has seemed to be more relaxed in terms of like what they're willing to let people do. But the left is like putting up all these boundaries for like what people can and can't say, do and don't do. Like Tom Segura sent me this photograph of some sort of a sketch comedy group where they were trying to figure out what you can and can't do today and like what is okay to do in a sketch. And it was a lot of it was about gay people and trans people. And can you be a straight cis man playing a trans person? All caps. Absolutely not. Can you be a cis person or can you be a trans person playing a cis person? Yes. All caps. You can do whatever you want. If you're a trans person
Right.
who's a woman, you can play a man, and
This
that's
is also-
totally cool. But if you're Shooter Jennings and you go, you know what, man, I just think it would be cool to do a movie where I play a chick. No chance, buddy. You're not
No
allowed to
chance.
make believe in that way. You can't make believe in a certain way. They're basically saying your thoughts are not allowed to go down these roads. There's no way you can manage this respectfully and with enough
Who's saying
dignity
that?
to the people who are crazy. But this is my point. These people exist. And they're on the left now. They're like super inclusive, super worried about diversity, super worried about, people of color. And there's all these like weird words, that they're
Right.
throwing around, game words.
I wish George Carlin was alive. I
Oh
want
my
to know
God,
what
he would have
say.
a heart attack.
No, I just
You'd
want to
kill
know what
him
he would
again.
say.
You'd bring him back to life. You'd kill him again with a heart attack. He would say what's similar to what you're saying, what
I
I'm
just wanna
saying,
know
I
what
think,
he's
but
saying.
probably better. He would just tell.
Oh, he would be so.
Yeah.
I just want to know. I just would die to know what he would say.
This is. I mean, to use the title of my tour. These are strange times.
Yeah, oh, man.
legitimately strange times. Stranger
Totally.
than we've ever experienced before as a human race. I think.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. I think we're on the beginning of it. That's
Mm-hmm.
the fucked up thing. Is I think that like the internet is the thing, the linchpin that
Yeah.
changed society in such a way. Like you said, the adolescent phase is
It's
what
a
we're
storm,
in.
dude.
Maybe
a
the
storm
toddler
of
phase.
information. It's a goddamn hailstorm. You ever seen those hailstorms where they hit those Ohio backyards and fuck up the pool, and everybody's inside screaming, and you're hearing the house like it's getting attacked by rocks? That's what it is. It's one of those hailstorms of information.
Yeah,
And
man.
There's never been anything like it. And
Man,
it's good.
don't
It's
you-
good. But we just got to be nice to each other. We're all together in this thing together.
That's
It's-
the thing too, man.
If
That's-
people are nice,
that
other
is the
people will be
point.
nice back. This is the thing. We got to realize that. If you're nice, other people will be nice too. We got to be nice to each other. And that includes online, And then we got to be nice about all the other things in the world. There's just so much that has to be thought of. So much that has to be thought of, not with this idea that you're going to live forever. Because a lot of like the way we behave is almost like we think we're going to live forever.
Right.
Instead of having this short trip where you should just like kind of be like as friendly with people as possible. And this is also something that should be projected, right? I should project it. You should project it. We should all get that idea out there so that we all agree. Like, yeah, let's just we could do this. Like, even in competition, it doesn't have to be that kind of conflict. Even if you're, neighboring businesses, you can be friends and everybody will do well together. There's a lot of people, man. This is not a time
and it's a
where you have to
group.
control everything and everyone, and nor should you want to.
It's
That's
like
the
a
big
giant summer camp. Like
Yeah.
life is just one.
Chaos.
It's your
Yeah.
piece of it.
That's
Like,
a good way to describe
my
it,
kids
dude.
are going to have their own summer camp that's going to happen, or are on their way at the beginning of it.
Yeah, and these counselors ain't controlling shit. People
Yeah.
are finger banging each other in fucking outhouses. summer camp's gay.
Right.
You can't let a bunch of 14-year-olds run around the forest
every
together.
4
They're
years,
gonna fuck.
Every 4 years, the head counselor changes. And
Yeah.
it's some guy. It's like last time, I was like, oh, we love that guy. And this guy's like, no, nobody from the other neighboring camps are coming in. You're like, okay, it's fine. We're partying.
We vaguely knew when I was in Boy Scouts, we vaguely knew that there was a potential that one of these camp counselors might molest you. We vaguely knew. Like, people knew.
Don't
no
go in
one
the
ever
bathroom
did.
with them.
No one ever did. But there was that thought when we were like, I guess I was 13 or something like that when I was in the Boy Scouts. There was that thought like, hey, man, this could go fucking sideways anytime. We're in the woods with some dudes that want to be in the woods with kids. Like, how well did they vet these people?
See,
like, you
different
really
strokes
have to look at this right.
taught me that.
Yeah, are these people like legit Boy Scout, instructors or whatever they be who really want to show everybody the way of the woods? Yes, most likely. It's amazing experience for young men. But just as human beings, anytime you get human beings, anytime you get a certain group of human beings and you leave them alone with large groups of kids,
Right.
you got to be super careful with what their motives are and how they handle pressure and how they deal with conflict and how they deal with sex. Like, what do you, were
Right.
you ever molested? Tell me when you were molested. What happened?
Right.
These are
that's
right.
scary.
It's weird issues when you're talking about dealing with children.
I know.
And,
How old
and
are your
dealing with
kids?
them.
You have young
the
ones.
youngest ones are 8 and 10.
Yeah, see, mine's 7 and 10.
Yeah, man, it's just it's a
scary.
weird time when you're watching little human beings evolve and develop, and
It's hard to let it go too, like for me, and I know for.
But
for them all.
the analogy you just had was perfect. It is really like summer camp.
Yeah, but it's funny how, from the day you're born, the day after somebody else's summer camp starts, and it kind of generationally goes on forever, and you kind of realize that you're stuck in this movie, in which that you have to try and do the best. For me, it's do the best with your family and the people you love, and then have the most fun and do the most damage in a good way.
And by the way, all the people out there that are summer camp counselors that are mad at me right now, I'm not saying.
You're worried about that?
I don't want anybody to feel bad. The vast majority of you are awesome. We're just talking about just in general human beings. It's the sheer numbers of human beings. If you get a certain number of people, there's a certain percentage of those people that are going to be a problem. This is the problem with cops. It's not that cops are bad people. So when you say fuck cops, you're crazy. You're going to need cops. Okay, if something goes wrong at 4 o'clock in the morning, you want the man who has the courage to stand there with the bulletproof vest and shoot at the bad guys.
It's the guy, Sam, what's his name from 3 Billboards? It was such a good role. I'm talking about that movie, 3 Billboards.
I did. Sam, who's in
Sam. God, he's so great. He was
the actor.
He was.
I did not see that
Hitchhiker's
movie.
Guide from the
Sam
Galaxy.
Elliott?
Oh,
Sam Elliott.
No. We love not Sam Elliott. That's
Just-
a good one though. Sometimes the
make up
bar eats
names.
you. No,
Keep
Sam.
going. What else you got? We're playing
he was
charades.
He was in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He was in a great movie called Joshua. He was Zephod Beeblebrox or whatever.
What is it, Jamie?
3 Billboards.
Rockwell, sorry.
Sam
Sam Rockwell.
Dude, that role is amazing, and
He's
he is
in that
guy.
movie, The Moon. Did you ever see that?
Oh
the
yeah, I
Moon
love
movie?
it. Bowie's kid did. Have you met Bowie's kid?
No.
The Duncan Jones. I've never met him, but he's awesome. That movie was awesome.
Is that what it's called?
Moon.
The Moon?
Just Moon.
Just Moon?
Yeah, that was great.
I met him because he was dating Leslie Bibb.
Yeah, they're
who's
married.
They're
Yeah.
married now. They were
Yeah,
dating
yeah.
back then. When I worked with her in a movie, I did a Kevin James movie, Zookeeper, with her. I was her ex-boyfriend who's a douchebag.
I saw that.
Fun movie. Dude, she's super cool, man. You want to talk about someone who's funny? That girl from
Jenny
Talladega
Johnson's
Nights.
friends with her. They hang out all the time.
Oh, that makes sense. She's super fucking cool. Really smart too.
Yeah.
What was my point? But I met
him
Rockwell
once,
there,
but-
and that was the thing that really got to me. Like, dude, that movie
Yeah,
Moon
he's-
is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That movie Moon. It is a movie. This is how unusual this movie is. There are no other actors.
I know. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's Sam Rockwell
And
through the whole movie, and
like
it's
the Martian.
fucking,
Didn't Martian feel
It's
the Martian
amazing.
feel like kind of like a diet moon when you saw it?
Well,
I felt that way. Even though I know
I didn't because it was different. Because it was more about the hazards of colonization, and without
And the
giving anything
psychological
away
effect and all
with this
that, yeah.
movie, I can't
But
give anything away because this movie's a mind fuck at the end.
Yeah,
well,
it's great.
it's
In
a
the
mind
middle.
fuck the whole way.
Yeah.
It's a mind fuck, but
I
it's a
thought
genius
it was a diet
movie.
Martian. I thought the Martian was the diet man.
Maybe I thought it was just another. Well, listen, man. There's nothing wrong with like doing a take on someone
totally.
colonizing another planet. We have to be real careful about that.
No.
Otherwise, we're gonna.
It's completely separate. It was a book and everything.
Right.
Just for me, in my 8-year-old movie going seeing in person, I was like, man, it's good, but it wasn't like Moon.
I know,
just
but
thought Moon was
there's a
fantastic.
problem with people are scared to do those fucking space movies. You do some more goddamn space movies. You
Well,
know what
they
I
gotta
watched?
be
I watched
good,
on the plane
man.
over here. I watched Alien Covenant again.
Love it. I've seen it 5 times. I actually every plane flight I take, I already have them downloaded on this fucking iPhone, and I watch Prometheus and that back and forth.
You should go to
And
jail for
everyone
watching
got-
Alien Covenant on an iPhone.
I know, but you know what? I got it. It's there. I don't have to have the internet, and,
Right.
and I have to pay for it. If it's on the thing, I'll watch it. But like,
You ever use that Apple TV where you stream it from your phone
yeah,
to the TV?
I know.
That's
it's
incredible.
A lot of work.
What?
It's a lot of work.
Takes 2 swipes.
I know, but it's like, but look, I feel like that Alien Covenant was such a
Yeah.
fucking good
So
movie.
good,
and
man.
they like canceled or something. I heard like he had another one, Alien Awakening, which was supposed to deal with the time before. After Prometheus and into Alien Covenant,
Yeah.
it was supposed to be the ship ride or whatever. And I'm like, and that they were going to shut it down. And
They're crazy.
I think
Here's what
that was
happens, man. When you get to a
fantastic.
certain level of money, when you're investing in those kind of films,
The threshold.
yeah, there's a threshold, and because they're so expensive to make. There's so much CGI and so much chaos and special effects and Alien Covenant had a great fucking plot too. I mean, everything was great. There was so many twists and turns, and the aliens were terrifying. They explained them. I mean, there was so much to it. It was really
David,
fucking good.
the
But the
fingering of
problem
the
is,
pipe.
Prometheus for a lot of people was less than what they wanted. That's all. It wasn't that it was a bad movie. I really liked it.
I thought it was fantastic.
But they were setting some shit up, and it didn't do that well. And when you're spending, I don't know how much the fuck they spent on those movies, but they're super, super expensive. It's one of them. I mean,
But
Aliens 2 is James Cameron.
This is like Blade Runner level shit, in my opinion, in the sense where, like, at first it doesn't seem like it's a massive
Yes.
thing, but it's just like for life, it's that. Like, Prometheus is fantastic. And the question that it opens, and the second piece where I got to shout out to Blake Judd because he said, hey, man, you're going to see it, but you're going to leave and you're going to be mad because you're going to have way more questions than before. And then I told the same thing to Sturgill. He was like, I'm about to go see Covenant. I was like, dude, you're going to be mad.
I wasn't mad at all.
No, I'm just saying because I want to see the next one. I want to know
Right.
more
Right.
about. You still don't know the engineer thing. They seeded. That was just one of their planets, like our planet, that they seeded, and they went there. So you're like, the next one should, or at least like the finishing story. They said they wanted to make a War of the Worlds kind of thing, where it was like all of a sudden these people descend. And it's the two opposing kind of parties, which is the David side and then maybe us ascending onto the engineer's planet, like finally. And it's all of a sudden these two opposing forces, you know? So like, I think that's brilliant writing. It's fucking fantastic.
Well, what you got to realize is that movie, the original Alien, goes back to 1979 with Sigourney Weaver, when she was as hot as the surface of the sun.
And they got
and she was running shit. She's the original feminist superhero.
With the
Sigourney
little
Weaver is
butt
the
sticking out.
fucking original badass woman in movies, fucking up monsters. She's the original. All these other movies that came afterwards, whether they're fun, you love them, Resident Evil type shit, or who's that Kate Beckinsale chick who's a vampire kicking people in the
I never
head.
saw those. Underworld. or
All
whatever.
those super badass chicks in movies, they all owe Sigourney Weaver. She was believable, man. She was a
Ripley.
scientist or whatever the fuck her job was on that spaceship, and she was the only one who lived in that movie. Spoiler alert, it's 1979. Should have already seen it. Yeah. But in that movie, they were worried about artificial intelligence. That's amazing.
H.R. Geiger designed all that shit, the space jockey and
but
all
just
that.
stop and think about they were worried about artificial intelligence back in 1979. And that's like, when you talk to Elon Musk, it's like one of his primary
hung out with him?
concerns. No, he's supposed to do the podcast. I was in his physical presence at the UFC, but I didn't get a chance to communicate with him. He was with his lady, but we had been going back and forth through email, so it was extra weird. But I'm working. When I'm doing the commentary, man, I'm trying to be. I don't want to suck. People get mad at me.
Right.
I try to do my best because I'm trying to focus. I can't go, yo, Elon, what's up, dude? These fights are crazy, bro. There's no real room for that. But he's worried about artificial intelligence more than anything. And I mean, you're talking about a super genius that has an electric car company, a rocket ship company. He's drilling holes under the fucking ground. He sells flamethrowers. I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
If this is the guy that's worried about artificial intelligence, we should be paying attention. And if you go back to, by the way, there was an article, I want to say it was the LA Times, that compared Elon Musk to Donald Trump. It was like one of the most clickbaity articles. They're fighting for their lives out there, man. These fucking journalists, they're fighting for their lives.
Good for them.
They got to get those clicks.
God, I'm all tangled up in this thing.
Your chain.
Man, I love guys who are crazy and ambitious and make shit. Like Elon Musk, whatever is happening with him, the fact that he's like, whatever, I'll figure it out later.
You just let it go and it figured itself out. That's what's amazing. As soon as you let it go, that's how high you are.
Thanks,
you thought you
man.
were tangled. You're not even
Thanks,
tangled.
man.
You're like making it
man,
tangled.
I'm a bro. I'm not
I gotta
that
break free, bro. I gotta break free of these chains.
No, I just like guys. You know what? I'll talk about Sturgill for a minute. I have to shout out to my the Blocktronics crew, my ANSI artist. I was talking about computers and BBSs, and Blocktronics are a ANSI artist group. They're great. But Sturgill, it's so cool to watch him come up, and he's like got this kind of angle. It like makes me. I just love watching him on your show, and I just have to say, us hanging out and everything all these years later, he just has a sense where I feel like, wow, there's a rocket ship in this universe, and we kind of speak the same language, and it's like a cool vibe, kind of having another dude out there who has the same sensibilities. And like when we hang out, you and me and him and everything, I feel like it's, you know what I mean? Like
I know what you mean. He's a bad motherfucker.
Here. Yeah. It's
no,
cool.
I'm honored to be his friend too.
Yeah.
I'm honored to be your friend too, man. For
Man,
real.
I'm honored to be your friend. You took me, I came to go see you play, and you took us in, and then Dave Chappelle played right after. You're like, oh yeah, hey, my friend Dave's going to do a thing. And then he came up, you killed it, and then he killed it, and that was crazy, man.
But
that was awesome.
We're all lucky to know each other. Like, it's fun. It's fun to know cool people. But Sturgill has got some new shit coming out, man. He shared some stuff with me. He sent me some images and explained what he's doing. And I can't wait to hear it. It sounds fantastic. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, he sent me some little clips of his record.
I can't say nothing about it. I'm on fucking super.
I can't either.
I accidentally leaked the title of his last album. Because he sent it to me in advance, and I put it up on Instagram, and I said, this new Sturgill Simpson shit is off the charts.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
God
I didn't
damn it.
know. And then he's like, dude, you fucked up. And I was like, oh, no. And he was laughing. He thought it was funny. Look, it just let people
At
know
least
about
you
something
leaked
awesome early. But I was listening to it in the gym, and while I was listening to it, I was in the middle of sets, and I was like, God damn, this is good. And then I got to Instagram this shit, and I Instagrammed it. I didn't know.
Hey, that's cool, dude. You did the same thing with my old record. Like you put a picture of it up of you just like screen grabbed your phone.
No, I like to do that, man. I
appreciate it.
Oh, hey, man, I appreciate your music for real.
Thanks.
I was in Italy, and I was about to work out, and you know how you have those iPhones where they have that little the cord with the button. You can press the button, it'll just start playing whatever you got on your iPhone.
Yeah.
It just goes right to Cool Mo D. I go to work. You know that song? I go to work. I go to work like a boxer. It's a great I go to work song. So I'm about to work out, and this fucking song comes on, almost like the universe is letting you know, look, dude, just don't try to think this through too much. just press that button. The song's there. I don't know why it's there. You don't know why it's there either. Stop thinking about it.
Right.
But it's there right when you needed it. That song's there. I go to work. And then you go to work. It's weird. This is theater. This whole thing is theater in some sort of strange way.
Summer camp.
Yeah. There's some part of life that's seriously theater.
Right, man. I mean, it to me, the older I get, I just feel like the more appreciative for like my dumber self for having gotten through it without more damage being done.
Right.
And so at this
I
point
concur.
in time, Like, I just really appreciate everybody who puts an effort into life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, you feel like somebody's doing good. It's like you just, I don't know. It's like you in this show and how like you've had this awesome career. And then I only met you the first time when I came on this show, and I like smoked pot in the parking lot, and I was like kind of out of it. And I was like, oh, and I came in here and didn't even bring a record. That's why this time I was like, I had to make sure we had a record. My record's called Shooter. It's out now. I have to say something. I didn't talk about it all. John Hensley, my manager back then, he called me and said, you didn't even talk about the record once. And I was like, shit, I don't know, man. We just got talking. And it was, I mean, that's how it is with you, you know. But I love doing that with you because it's like, I'll go down the rabbit hole, man. I'll go down the Alex Jones rabbit hole.
And I think people are scared to do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having thoughts. And I think we got to stop yelling at people. We got to stop yelling. I think the anger that we express towards each other forces anger in return when it's not always necessary. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you see Nazis in Charlottesville and you go, hey, you dumb fucks. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? You really want to categorize people by race? This is 2018. You got to stop. This is some stupid shit.
I think the positive look at all of that is the numbers of those kind of insane people have dwindled to a point. Because I remember when I was a kid and there would be like still Klan people and stuff. And that
which is the argument for free speech. The argument for free speech is ultimately people figured out and it balances out. It does. I think it does. And it doesn't totally because let's just be completely honest. Some people do a terrible job raising children. And these children go out into the world and they're just causing damage everywhere they go. They're on fire and they're just running through dry bushes their entire life, right? They're creating chaos. And it's from what set them off when they were young, how they evolved. To expect everyone to have like the same starting point and be judged on your emotional behavior, your impulsiveness, your dishonesty or your discipline, to be judged on those as if you all started from the same spot on the board is just crazy.
Right.
It's just crazy. And this is part of what we do. We judge based on results only. And when we see someone who fucked up, we don't go, okay, what happened to this person that made them so fucking crazy?
Right.
Like, is it really their fault? Or is there a series of events that lead to you being who you are right now? And maybe we should remap it. Maybe we should remap it and just look at it in a different way and say, look, we definitely don't want that result again, ever. Right? But we got to figure out why you got to that result. What made you break into the bank and put a gun in someone's face? I mean, how did you get there?
That's true. It's like Manson said in the Bowling for Columbine. They said, what would you say to the Columbine killers? He said, I would ask them their opinion, because it seems like nobody asked them their opinion. You know what I mean? So like,
ask them what the fuck happened.
Like,
are they both dead? They're both dead, right?
Yeah, they killed.
Well, it's tough to ask them their opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like,
doesn't make a lot of sense.
But the reality is,
ask someone who broke. Like, what made you break?
We've all broken in little ways in our lives, and we've all lived through it, and we all appreciate other people who have done the same thing. And when you get to a point when you get old enough where you realize you can watch when someone is having a moment that they can't make it through, that you've kind of been through in ways, you kind of find it. Those are the kind of people that I like, that will go and talk to that person because they can see that. And I think that you're absolutely one of those kind of people, because I've actually had conversations with you when we were backstage at the fucking Comedy Store or wherever we were when that night happened. And we had a conversation. I don't quite remember the whole thing, but it was about music and about listening to music. And it's like, you're a compassionate dude. And people who... That's all. It's about compassion. It's about compassion and stability.
It's about recognizing the best times come when we're nice to each other. If you go to a bar and there's a bunch of strange dudes you never met in your life, and an hour later you guys are high-fiving and laughing and hugging each other and you're buying rounds, that's a great time. Or you can go to a bar and someone wants to get in a dick-waving competition. Next thing you know, you got hit in the back of the head by a chair. That's possible too.
Right.
Both things are possible. You know when one feels way better? The one that feels way better is the one where you meet a bunch of new friends. And these guys who you never met before are now your buddies. And then you realize, like, I just ran into a fucking bunch of awesome dudes who are now like some of my favorite people ever. And if I didn't go out that night, who knows what would have happened? Just randomly ran into a group of amazing people and it changed the course of your whole life.
Right.
That's possible too, man. But we got to be that friend at the bar. We got to be that new friend at the bar. And the more people, it's possible to do that, man. I think a lot of it is just the way we think of each other. There's a problem in our operating system Well, we have an ultra competitive operating system in things we shouldn't be competitive in. There should be, and I think part of the reason is we've lost a lot of competitiveness in life. I think people were competitive in life in ways where they were fighting for their survival, right? They're fighting neighboring tribes in the most brutal and primitive of days.
Social media.
Yeah, and then as things changed and moved forward, that got less and less physical and more mental, and the body got frustrated. And I think this is part of what's happening along the way.
Yeah.
And then people started looking for competition in business. You ever hear like weirdo business guys talk? We're going to fucking stuff their contract right up their fucking asses. They get all crazy like they're starting a war, man. You know, like super hyped up business guys. Yeah, my competition has always been disparaging me with
Wolf of
unique
Wall
remarks
Street.
about my past. You know, they get fucking so they want to kill the competition. Those people are weird, man. They're weird.
Yeah.
They're focusing on it the wrong way. That's some dinosaur shit.
Yeah, that's the money thing. That's like if you're in the money game.
Yeah, but you don't have to do that to be in the even in the money game. You don't have to do that anymore. Like
I
it's-
guess.
it's-
I mean, you're right, but if you do, you know what I mean? Like you
I
do
get
something
it.
you love, you pursue angles like you chose to pursue. Lots like similar to me, we're similar in this way. Like you chose to pursue all these little different angles of the universe that are in the entertainment business, but they are also like things you love, like the UFC, and then you know all the different little. I mean, you've had so many different little angles that you've occupied to land up here, where you get to just talk about all the shit that you love.
Yeah, but dude,
know?
it doesn't make sense even to me. I wake up in the morning, like today. I wake up, I go and work out, and I'm sitting there going, "What am I doing?" Like,
Dude,
I'm just
look
gonna
at this place.
Show up and go
it's
do.
fucking awesome.
It's crazy.
Like, honestly,
but
I would
you
love
wake up
just-
in the morning like, how'd this
I'm the
happen?
same way. You have an archery thing. I would have old computers on that wall, and I would have like a pinball machine and a bunch
Yeah.
of old arcade games. I have my own taste, but like you got, honestly, you have found your path. And it's awesome, and you're compassionate, and you're here, and you weren't in it. If you were in it for the money, you'd be somewhere else. You're in it for what you like to do.
I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm in it. You're talking for me right now.
No,
You've given more
You're
thought
gonna
to
cook,
it in the
You're going
last
to cook 8
couple
eggs in the
seconds.
morning. You're going to be a great dad, and then you're going to go do what you love to do, and come home, and that's awesome.
I just do what the great magnet compels me to do. I'm merely metal filings moving through the universe, headed towards the great
Let's
magnet.
get metaphysical now.
Great magnet.
In the last 10
for
minutes.
sure. I've decided one of the things I've been thinking about recently, especially over the last like maybe 10 years of my life, I've decided way less things that I did in the
Yeah, me
in
too.
the first years of my life.
Me too.
But it's like seems to be things just sort of happen.
It's like
you
the
know?
reverse of the Bob Seger thing.
Yeah.
I wish
Working on our
just,
night moves,
Yeah, no, I just
trying to make some
I
front
don't know
page
anything
traveling
now.
news.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
kids excel past me already all the time.
Mm.
Just yesterday, I mean, they trick me and they do things and they're smarter and they're, nothing I could do could impress them more than what they can do by watching what I can do and doing it better.
Well, how about when they fucking grab electronics and they figure it out? They're like, give me that. You don't know how to do this. You got to go into settings and you go down here. And you're like, well, you're 8.
Yeah,
how the
that's
fuck
right.
can you do this?
My daughter programs
Gotta
like
log
these
off and
in
log back on.
Minecraft. You can program these
You got to
red
use a VPN
blocks.
because
Oh,
then you
yeah.
get blocked. Like, what?
Oh yeah. I have to shout out to my IRC people. Oh yeah,
IRC. You
Yeah.
still use
Oh,
IRC?
yeah, I'm still on it.
Damn,
There's a-
son.
there's
do you have a ham radio in your
There
backyard?
is a BCR, my record label that I own with Adam. There's a BCR IRC.
What is that
server.
BCR?
BCR is Black Country Rock. It's the label that
Oh.
I put out. This record's on Elektra through LCS and Dave Cobb, his label. Yep, there we go. I keep looking at the cameras that are not this place.
Yeah. The cameras
Anyway.
aren't on. It's too freaky. We used to have the cameras on while we were on, but it's too weird.
Yeah,
Hard to
probably.
be yourself.
I think they were on actually last time because
Yeah, it was too weird. Too freaked everybody out, especially when we'd start getting high. You're like, well, this is not right.
But we have a
I
thing
don't want to
called
know.
the BCRbazaar.com, BCRBAZAAR.com, and it's like a place where like fans come and they talk, and we have an IRC server. So there's one all day, and I'm on it all day, and I talk to people.
That is so ridiculous.
like
You just
10
gave people
people.
that out. Now people are going to go there.
Good. I hope. You're welcome. Please.
I used to do IRC back in my Quake days.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
a
know.
great way to communicate. Like teams would communicate. We'd give like server addresses.
Oh yeah,
We're all going to meet
See,
up at the
that
spot.
shit was free as fuck. The government didn't even know how to fucking trace a phone. Literally, like listen in on IRC back then. Like they had to pick up from the hackers like how to do it.
That
So
was a very, very different thing.
Brilliant
like,
time.
when all those message boards and all those things came up, like especially like the ability to when you play games and talk to people in real time during the games.
Doom 2.
One of the ways I learned how to type was from learning how to type in game
Yeah,
when
right.
playing Quake, because you got to type quick.
Quake 1 or like Quake? What was what was
I
the
started
one?
with Quake 2, but
Quake
I
2
played
had the
Quake 2 and Quake
multiplayer
3.
option.
Yeah.
Quake 1, I mean, I was in Doom, so like when Quake 1 came out, and Nine Inch Nails was my favorite band ever, and when back then, and still was the influence for me. Like he did the soundtrack to
Yeah,
Quake. I
it
was
was
like,
amazing.
holy shit.
Amazing.
And then it's funny that
Yeah.
Misty, all these years later, she's like, I didn't have a computer, but I went and bought that soundtrack because Trent Reznor did it because she was into Nine Inch Nails. I'm like,
Whoa.
that's so hot. I mean, she has the CD of it in our house still. But anyway, man, I loved that. And I used to do that too. And once the internet came on, I had a friend in Nashville, me and my buddy James and Greg. Greg, this guy, ran a BBS, and he bought a Doom 2 server back then where it had 4 phone lines and modems in it, and we would dial in.
That's
and listen.
56K days,
Yeah,
son.
totally. And we would play Doom 2 and listen. I was listening to like White Zombie, Astro Creep 2000. I was probably 14, 13. Like I'm just
Wow.
jamming this shit out, man. I was such a nerd. Still am, man. If you saw my house, you got to come over sometime. But I've got like my office is like 1993. We watch laser discs. We have like old computers and like old shit everywhere. So it's like it's kind of frozen in a weird technological phase that I love.
That's hilarious. That's awesome, man. Yeah, you've always been like really into like weird internet type shit. Like you're really into cryptocurrencies and
Yeah, man. There's a thing called Peep. It's like Peep ETH. It's on Twitter or whatever, but it's a Twitter alternative. It's like it's just starting, but it's
What's it
interesting.
called? Peep ETH?
Well, Peep ETH.
What does that mean?
.com is the thing. It's like kind of like Twitter, but it's built on the back of Ethereum, and so every tweet, or I'm calling them tweets. I should call it whatever. Every message that you send on it, kind of like Twitter, is embedded in the blockchain of Ethereum.
Well, let's explain what this site says. It says the values platform. Hold on. What did you do? Stop. We just there. A blockchain-powered social network for our best selves.
Yeah, well, because you can't delete anything because it's permanently embedded, and it's like I think up to 10 of your messages can be logged in one block of the Ethereum chain. So you have to pay like a cent of it, but they give you some to begin with, and then when somebody messages you, it's kind of a microtransaction to you. So you have this kind of balance that's going all the
Wait
time.
a minute. So do you have to open up an account or
No,
something?
no.
Like you get a cent?
You can do it without any involvement. But the way it works is because it's in transactions on a blockchain in Ethereum, it's permanently lodged in this permanent digital ledger in which that these transactions are what's making it happen. So like if you log in and verify yourself, they give you like 30 cents because that starts you out to be able to just kind of permanently do this in. So you don't have to do any. It sounds complicated, but it's cool. I'm not saying I don't know if it'll become like the next rage, but it's technologically it's really fucking fun.
You might
and
be
cool.
launching it right now. But go back to that page again and expand on the right-hand side where it shows you all the different categories and the different values.
But
Look at this. Make that larger. Look at that.
It's
Rethinking
decentralized.
social media, bringing out our best with opinionated features and immutability.
Yeah.
Yeah. How
because
often do you hear that word?
It's permanent.
What does that mean?
Not the ability to not mute, I believe.
Immutability,
Yeah.
so you can't mute people. Okay, we'll need to Google that in a moment. Contact is openly and forever accessible on the Ethereum blockchain and IPFS, whatever that is. Thoughtful, it says permanence and creative constraints encourage mindful and self-aware peeps. Okay, that was like a haiku. What is it?
Yeah.
That's like a fucking poem. Listen to this fucking thing listen to this again. permanence and creative. Constraints encourage mindful and self-aware peeps. That's okay.
Hey,
What is that?
I just stumbled across it, but I love it. I love the technology of it.
I
It's
do
really
too, but I mean
interesting.
I don't understand what they just said.
No, I think
Responsible charity badges prevent suffering and inspire others. 1,178 mosquito nets purchased so far. Oh, that's amazing. So they're purchasing mosquito nets.
No, that has to do with the actual platform, I think.
Oh, so it's not a real mosquito net?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I thought
I mean, I've
responsible.
never
meant-
looked at this website.
malaria.
No,
I just
they
found
are.
it through
Yeah.
a thing. Okay.
No, they
buying-
are. They're buying mosquito badges to prevent malaria.
I'm getting paged because I got to go to Conan.
Oh, it's over.
I know. I don't
It's
want
3
it to be
o'clock.
over.
I don't want it to be over either.
Yeah,
Shooter, we got to do this again.
I love it.
Come on, man.
I love it.
And
I have
I'm,
to
I'm
sign this, right?
yeah, I'm glad you started off that controversial subject of the Alex Jones thing, and I'm really glad that Bill Maher went on a ledge and said, you
Me
know,
too.
that even if you don't agree with someone, you're not supposed to silence their speech. You know, I just don't think people are supposed to be alone yelling into the wilderness.
I
think
agree.
that's part of the
And
problem.
the mob mentality
You know?
thing is a problem.
But
and
even
I think-
him, I don't think you're supposed to be able to do that. I don't think you're supposed to be alone yelling off into the abyss.
My wife's calling me now because my
She's telling
manager's
you,
calling me.
everyone's freaking out.
Misty, I love you.
Everyone's freaking the fuck out.
Brad,
It's just
you are
time,
living.
ladies and gentlemen. It's a way of measuring distance.
Thank
All right.
you for having me.
Shooter Jennings, you're
I
the
love
shit.
you so much.
I love you too, brother. Shooter, it's out now.
ShooterJennings.com.
This shit's vinyl. Old school, son.
All right.
Respect.
All right.